before getting Me Too'd. And after.
You know what? I talk to your mayor.
Hey, we love that umbrella guy. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Hey there to all you wonderful people. Oh man, how is it going today? I hope all you folks are having a great one so far. Today it's going to be a fun one. Little known fact, a lot of people didn't really understand this when I was talking about it the other day because this came out of this channel actually. It didn't come from anywhere else. Somebody had a little problem with lawyers once upon a time. You know all those things that we know? All those things about the ACLU, all those wonderful things about letters behind the scenes and all. You know where those came from? They came from betrayal by a lawyer. Because amongst everyone else that has turned on Amber Heard, she was betrayed by one of her closest lawyers ever. What you found out about this, too, is you had a deposition that was probably one of the best depositions that has ever rolled around. This deposition, it told you, amongst other things, that Amber Heard had been in communication about this stuff with other lawyers forever. They had known about this for a long, long time. This wasn't some, even though they deny it, they wish they may, they wish they might. It existed that whole time. They all knew it, even when they were trying to get it thrown out of court. You also had Amber Heard. They admitted that this was about Johnny Depp. The thing that whole case is over that we're watching today, they've actually admitted on record that it's about him. All those denials, it's amazing because one deposition where a lawyer betrays you, one that knew all of your secrets, yeah, all of that happened in a deposition. And you want to see something very beautiful? Let's see this. Check this out. Now, a lot of these depositions, like I said, they didn't come like yesterday, you know. That umbrella got the transcript. That's right, the transcript. Now, this transcript is a long transcript. It is a heck of a long transcript. It it references everything. It's 376 pages of awesome. And it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. I did a video this morning talking about a couple of high points. But you know what? The beauty of the high points is that they don't even get near the peak of it. Again, betrayed by a lawyer. What she never understood was that while all this stuff was going on, people were keeping records. Hey, Jay Phillips, 44, thanks for Terry. Are you going to make a Mega Pint shirt? I may do that. I haven't thought about it. Is it true that her parents backed JD? It is true. Yes, it very much is true. Well, this guy testifying in court. Well, you know the ACLU. Okay, so there was a little chain that all of this stuff set off. The ACLU, you know, they had to get on the stand and they talked about how much Elon gave and all of that. That chain was set off by her lawyer betraying her. She expected her lawyer to keep his damn mouth shut, and he didn't. He betrayed her. He just he told the truth. See, that's one thing. You ever heard of a lawyer telling the truth? Now, what's funny about this lawyer, this particular one, is he talked a lot of nonsense. He talked a lot of smack. He got out there and he just ran that mouth, blah, 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 blah. But when it came down to it, when he was asked questions, he turned around and he threw her right under the bus, just like she's done to so many other people, which is so astounding when you get down to it. Josh, thanks for the 5. Do you know anything about them being on break the week of the 9th? They said they were gonna take a break. You know, Court TV said they were gonna take a break that week. Any idea what? Yeah. The court's supposed to go on a break for a week. Yeah. So the judge. The judge allowed, within the confines of the trial, that there's supposed to be a week off. So yeah, that is true. Yeah, they announced the schedule to it. I couldn't remember the exact date when everything was off, but that's okay because there's so much stuff that happened that every day you can catch up like 3 or 4 videos a day. I mean, this has been an insane trial so far. What's really crazy is if it's true that we're actually going to see Amber Heard on Monday, but we're going to be missing a lot of. I'm not sure how many people they've skipped over, but it looks like they've skipped over quite a few people. But yeah, this lawyer here, like I said, this lawyer. Let me pull all this up. Let me even this out for you. This lawyer here probably did more damage to Amber Heard than anyone else out there, and it's absolutely astounding the wreckage that this left in its wake. Hey, love P. Thanks for the 179 super sticker. Appreciate that. But yeah, those letters that, okay, so all of you, it depends on how long you've kept up with this case. Maybe you know them, maybe you've seen them a little bit, maybe you saw them the other day. I have some redacted copies of letters with the ACLU. This guy, like I said, this guy was the weak link in the chain. I don't know if we would have seen all of the stuff that we saw without this lawyer. Let me pull up those. I won't spend all day on them, but I do want to pull them up because I do think that they're I don't have to think they're very important. They're actually very important in this case. You know, they prove beyond a shadow of doubt that the ACLU was complicit in writing this letter. They prove that the ACLU, they knew exactly what they were doing, and so did Amber Heard. Again, you have redactions in this, but this is the reason we see these in any way, shape, or form pop up. Now remember too, with the ACLU, just to note this, the ACLU did not cooperate with Johnny Depp. They were subpoenaed and told that they would have to turn over information. Well, their plan was to run out the clock. They were not going to cooperate in any way, shape, or form. He had to take them to the New York Supreme Court, and he had to sue them to get them to come off of the subpoena information. So we've seen multiple lawsuits inside of this lawsuit here. Beth, thanks for the 10 there and the thank you. Appreciate that. Shabaka, thanks for the 279. Weren't you supposed to have a family weekend? Did. I just walked in the door. I just walked in that door, literally. Yeah, went down to, like, if you look at my timeline, it talks about over in Murfreesboro and Nashville. I was down there, and I got back, and I just walked through the door. Well, tonight is a flashcast, too, so, can't do that. Yeah, we went out yesterday as well. Bill the Conqueror, thanks for the 5. Respect and prompts for all your work in this case over the last year. It brings me joy to watch AH burn. I see much of my past and what Johnny goes through. Yeah, a lot of men do. A lot of women do too. To be honest, they see a lot of the horror in the abuse that they suffered, and it's really touched a nerve societally. I hope as society we actually learn from this too. Web server guy, thanks for the 5. Can we get AMC to do a Johnny Depp movie marathon? That would be awesome. Yeah, it would be good. It would be. JV, thanks for the 5. Her lawyer was trying his best to defend the client, but truth rises. Hashtag men too. Thanks, Doug. Fed up men need a voice. Society needs strong men. That's true. Men just need to be able to talk about we need to be able to be truthful about what happens. Period. We need to be able to be truthful about it. The AMC, the AMC, I said the AMC, the ACLU, last one said AMC, so I said the AMC. The ACLU, did I see the article with people threatening AH? No, but that's the game. They don't ever put up anybody threat. I have posted some of the most, this is not excused. There are crazy people on the internet, period. Always crazy people on the internet. And I've put up dozens and dozens of letters where I get just random threats all the time. Like it's part of the online experience. I mean, there's a very high profile female that's covering this. I'm not going to say who or where. I'm just going to say on one stage, let's say, and people have been they've doxed and threatened her kids because of it, because she's been covering it from a JD perspective. That's the ugly beast that this stuff is, like the online thing, because there are crazy people out there. The difference is, like, the people attached to AH, they're not random crazies that make threats. Like Christina Taft, the one that put the flyers on the cars. She wasn't just some rando crazy. She was, she's out there doing dirty work for Amber Heard, and she's connected to the team. I did a video on that. She was connected to Robbie Kaplan. She was connected to Eve Barlow. They're all connected together. So the difference is it's not just some random person who you don't know the reason for them doing it. Hell, for all you know, it's some kind of weird op where Amber Heard's followers are doing it just to make people look bad. You just never know why some of that stuff comes together. But you do know on the other side of that people filing false police reports behind the scenes. Yeah, Eve Barlow parked in those rooms. People doxing, saying that they're in contact with Amber Heard's team. We'll go over all of that another day again, since we have bigger stage to talk about it, because it's important stuff. Hey, Rose, thank you. Welcome. Thank you for the membership, too. Welcome to Tugs Thugs. Appreciate you. 2012, thanks for the tune. We want a lug story time. Even Alpaca agrees. That's funny. All right, so this is, again, the ACLU letters. This is the reason we have these things in the first place. And there are many other letters, just really summarizing what this is without having to read the whole thing. This is where the ACLU makes for our this is first draft, rather. Now the ACLU first contact, let's see. There's a lot of different letter pieces, through here. You can see the early drafts of this article, as they come up. You can see them communicating back and forth as they exchange messages. You can see them bragging about how they skirt non-disclosure agreements, and they skirt talking about his marriage. And their first contact here, they give her an ambassador title and just all kinds of other nonsense. Well, we would have never known about this stuff, like I said, but one of her own sold her out. Now, that transcript of that, like I say, is amazing. I got this from a source, let's just say, a while back. I thought it was kind of cool because again, I'm skipping over some of the entry portions of it. And again, these are all documents are publicly open to the public. There are certain ones that, like depositions, you typically have uploaded with something else attached to it. Like I said, ended up getting this with a source. So you could see about page 16, they start turning toward, they go away from this person's credentials, and they start talking about Amber Heard. I'm now going to turn to Amber Heard. I'm going to ask you, Mr. George, how long have you known Amber Heard? I've known Amber, gosh, it's been a good 5 years. I'm going to ask you, blah, blah, blah. Let's just go over okay, so I'm going to be referring to an op-ed. I'm going to use the term op-ed. That's what the whole trial is about. It's obviously an opinion editorial that Amber Heard ended up ultimately publishing with the ACLU in the Washington Post, December 18th, 2018. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to ask these questions. I'm going to be using just the term op-ed. So, they go through, they explain that, all right? So you understand with the op-ed, when they say that, they're talking about the entire reason that we have a case. She with her co-conspirator organization, that's what I'll refer to them as normally. I'll call them a co-conspirator organization. They publish a piece in the Washington Post trying to make JD the face of violence against women. He becomes the face worldwide recognized against violence against women. He becomes the face of the act. The act that, again, that's why they keep bringing up gender-based violence over and over again, because they wanted to make him the face of it. We really, particularly, it's not just a false accusation case either. I mean, there's enough evidence out there showcasing that she was definitely front and center doing damage. She was an aggressor. She was not the aggrieved party. That's a very important distinction too. She was not making it even more insulting. If a person was falsely accused, that's one layer, and that's bad enough. But somebody that was being abused in a relationship is now turned into the face of violence against. Yeah. She would have been, after beating a man, she would have become... She already did the rallying cry of women too. You see so many people that are abusers these days, false accusers. Anybody who wants something from people, they do this. They do it all the time. Now, Crazy Cat Lady that represents Amber Heard now, she is actually here too, Now, when they talk about the op-ed, the ACLU did not publish her op-ed. Amber published the op-ed that appeared in the Washington Post. Now, you see that right there. Oh, that's interesting. So the lawyer makes this clarification. Then you have, these are two lawyers arguing about it. These are the other lawyers. These are lawyers we know right now. So they argue. Crazy Cat Lady that you see in court every day, she's pretty nasty about most things. So actually, the Washington Post published the op-ed, she says, if you really want to get technical. So the lawyer for JD's like, the ACLU likes to hide from service, but they didn't put their name on the op-ed. Probably smart. So the witness, the lawyer that's spilling the beans, to make things easy, regardless of the version of the piece, I will understand, Mr. Chu, if you refer to it as the op-ed. Okay, so they're not in the Washington Post. So what, if any, legal representation did you provide Ms. Heard relating to the op-ed? The witness is asked. So, again, I want to be clear that it's my understanding, for the purpose of answering this question, that Ms. Heard is comfortable with waiving the attorney-client privilege as it relates to that question. As I'm here being asked here, I want to understand that I'm asking this. And that, in that capacity, she presented to me a draft of the op-ed and asked for my counsel in terms of reviewing it, editing it, and finalizing it for publication. So this guy, he's going to be the one who goes over the op-ed and makes sure she doesn't get sued. All right. So, Mr. George, thank you for bringing that up. On September the 4th, 2019, counsel for JD, counsel for AH, They talk about agreements that they made, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, you know, how they get to this point. Well, let's skip over that just a little bit. There's a lot of pages. That's why I skip over certain things, because there's points that are made. You don't want to lose a point in this stuff, but you want to, like I said, they become combative, which is sometimes funny, but other times it's nitpicking. You see it on the stand somewhat, but it's even worse during deposition, you know? One second. They also bring up, what's astounding is you'll see some of the people that are tagged in this. You'll have, you know, emails, discussions, you know, they bring in emails. They bring in discussions, and some of the people that are on the emails that we're going to be looking at, they, like I said, I'm rolling down. Here we are. All right. So you see them again discussing, see the attached. If you let me know if there's anything else you'd like to change before sharing this with your lawyers. Otherwise, feel free to pass it to them. There are two versions here, one showing changes I made and one clean. So again, you know, they're going through, they're correcting op-ed. This guy's the one who threw it out to the public. This is, or threw it out there that made everything known, well and clear. Sadie thinks for the 10. I'm a little worried about what they might try to use for proof and who will come to try to defend her BS and the big show AH will put on, and if the jury will fall for her crap. Well, she's going to put on a big show. She's going to cry. She's going to do all of that stuff, for sure. She's going to do a lot of it. You know, so the defenders, most of them are attached to her. So, Eugene, thanks for the 2. New member, by the way. Watch your videos a lot. Appreciate that. Definitely appreciate it. Appreciate all of you folks here. Appreciate that, like I say. I think this court case is ridiculous in the way the lawyers are handling themselves. Since when is it okay to use first names in court? Rottenborn mostly. Rottenborn, I mean, the lawyers are allowed to be nasty. You know, lawyers are always allowed to be nasty. So, you know, that's unfortunately a byproduct of courts. You know, you see more of that too from this case, though. A lot of people don't really understand how scummy most lawyers are. You know, you get a false representation of how lawyers might be, viewing things like say LawTube online. You know, LawTube online, it truly gives you a feel for what a messed up thing. You want to see something jacked up that YouTube just did. So you want to see something like really jacked up. Check this out. I'm just going to show this to you really fast, okay? So this is what I mean about them throttling this subject too. Look at this. Now we've recovered since then, but look at this. So this is the live stream. I was going to go turn on the only area, and well, now it rolled past. There actually, when it was rolling through, there's a dip. It just showed, and it actually rolled back out. But there was a dip here where they knocked 1,000 freaking viewers out, and it just it just corrected it when I went to show it, because I was looking at it, I was like, what the hell? They knocked up 1,000 viewers, you know? Anyway, let me pull that back up. I was going to show that to you, and I was like, yeah, I guess that's the way it's going to be when you try to expose this stuff. You could tell from a lot of the craziness that goes on, though. Now, this lady right here that's mentioned, by the way, the Jody G. Jody G worked for Amber Heard, and Jody G actually is one of the witnesses. She went as far in this case as to dodge a subpoena under the direct influence of Amber Heard. So she went out of her way not to respond to a subpoena. Like, that's kind of nuts, don't you think? Hey, Trish G, psychic healer and intuitive, thanks for 5. DV survivor from UK, first time here. Do you think AH had a baby to protect herself? Any future criminal charges using a child as a shield? No, AH had the baby because of PR is what she did. Okay, the baby was born, just to throw this out there, the baby was born before the trial was initially supposed to come up. This trial was supposed to happen a year ago. All right, it wasn't supposed to happen this year. It was supposed to happen a year ago. So she had a baby 1 month before, or really right in, not even a month before the trial began last time. I mean, within weeks of the trial, because it makes great PR. You know, everybody's going to be talking about the baby. They wouldn't be talking about that. The problem was the trial got delayed by a year. So she had a baby, yeah, but the baby didn't make the positive headline hit. Because you think about it, anytime you bring up the baby, like if you bring it up at all, people are like, oh my God, how dare you bring up the baby? And it's like, you're not really bringing up the baby. You're bringing up, it just shows you the type of person that you're dealing with here. Like this person would go as far as to, again, the baby came through surrogacy. She didn't have a baby. She planned a baby. And if we go by a timeline that's kind of established by one Jennifer Howell, you know, a witness that spoke on JD's behalf, it's probably Elon Musk's baby. That's why he's dropping millions of dollars. Well, actually that, or there's a rumor. And I'm just going to say this as a rumor. I'm not saying there's any validity or truth to this at all, okay? But somebody actually came out the other day and was talking about Elon and was talking about wild sex parties and her having some kind of weird proof. Remind me to show you their screenshot so I don't have to say the words, because I'm not going to point I'm not going to point that at somebody. Again, it's conjecture. But at the same time, she has something on the man. Intense, thanks for the 5. Is it true that Japanese prosecutors and attorneys are worse? I hear that there are cases where witnesses and suspects being beaten up physically. I don't know a lot about the Japanese court. Just to be honest, I have no idea. You know, so you see them establishing here. They established Jody G. They're establishing the players that are going to come up in all of this. When they come up, I'll bring them up. Then they announced, here's a big bombshell in. About 26 pages in, they say, okay. Then it says, please see the proposed op-ed that would run in conjunction with my official announcement as the new women's rights ambassador for the ACLU. Please let me know what you think. So, Amber Heard was given, actually, I'm going to put it a different way. We heard about this on the stand when the ACLU's spokesperson was talking about it. But Amber Heard was given an ambassadorship. She became a women's rights ambassador for the ACLU to push this article. No other reason but to push this thing. That should disgust people. Because that was weaponized, just flagrantly weaponized. Now, they talked about the criteria of it anyway. It is, you have to agree with the ACLU politically on specific points to be considered anyhow. You have to go through all this X, Y, and Z. But on top of that, the only reason that she got it was to push this to ruin JD's life. Amazing, isn't it? Eugene, thanks for the 2. She spermed the sperm from the depth sperm bank. Hopefully not. Christine, thanks for the 5. Do you know if Whitney finished her depo or she'll be excluded as a witness? We have no idea. We haven't heard any decision on that I've seen. My Beavers unit, thanks for the 2. Mocking media on YouTube, a mock shop for a turd shart. That's a gross outtake. But can you believe somebody gets a ambassadorship? Again, a title like that, so they can push an op-ed to destroy somebody. Now, then it's asked here, when's the first time that Amber reached out to you in conjunction with the op-ed? Again, they rephrase it again, but it's the same question. So it was either in this email or verbally around the time. So they tell them the first time that they make contact was around December 6, 2018. They're gearing up to make connection to make sure, again, she does not get she does not get sued. And this is geared up to pop up right before. They're going to weaponize the Aquaman movie. If you look at the dates, all of it works out to weaponize the first Aquaman movie. Hey, Tig, thanks for the 2. No statement. Plenty of statement of backing. Thank you. You go. Thanks for the 5. Isn't Elon bankrolling this case for AH? Yes. And not just bankrolling for her. All of her witnesses are paid for by him. He paid millions to the ACLU. What does he care? You know, I mean, that's the thing. What does he care? You know, he's shown that he just has more money than sense, right? And again, there's something else there. Like she has some bad dirt on the man. Bad dirt. You can just tell there's something there more than a baby. Because the reason I say that is because he has plenty of children out there just running around. You know, I mean Grimes. Heck, look at how his last relationship went. Because he's got plenty of kids running around out there. That's not even. It's not even a moment of flinching for Elon. He doesn't even look back. You know, he just keeps moving forward and having more kids, doing more, And again, that's not a value judgment on somebody. If you have kids like that, broken relationships, I mean, that's on you. It does say a little bit of something about you, but, I'm not your parent to judge you. Hopefully your kids have a decent life in that. And thanks for the 2. Hot chocolate for the room. Late here, Scotland. Glad to have you there. Alberta, thanks for the super chat. I heard Musk is the father of Amber's child. True. Well, again, the Jennifer Howell said that there was a battle over embryos between Amber Heard and Elon Musk. That's where that comes from. And soon after, we have this. We don't know who the parent is we don't have anyone that said yes definitively that's my kid or anything like that, nor has Heard talked about it. Again, all we know is the child came by a surrogacy. We don't know who the father is. Tig, thanks for the 2. She was arrested in 2009 for abuse of her ex-girlfriend. Yes, she was arrested in the airport for assaulting Tasha Van Ree. She tried to claim homophobia and misogyny. One of the arresting officers was a female, and the female was lesbian. So, no, didn't work. Richard, thanks for the 2. My mom was a single mom. She's my hero. Yeah, my mom raised me pretty much. Again, she didn't. My dad was a crazy POS, I'll say. My biological dad. I had a very good stepfather after a little while. I very much cared for, but my biological dad was a nut. So I understand that. Yeah, many people, many single parents do an amazing job. So no judgment on single parents, man. Jennifer Robinson comes into this, though. Now, if you don't know who Jennifer Robinson is, I thought that this was one hell of a disclosure, because Jennifer Robinson was the attorney that you saw representing Amber Heard in the UK. The Sun trial? That was the lawyer representing her. Jennifer Robinson, as well as all these other lawyers behind the scenes, they 100% knew what Amber Heard had been up to. They 100% knew that Amber Heard was making contact with these different organizations, writing op-eds and all this stuff that she had been into. And they played this game, again, publicly. Publicly, nope. This stuff isn't about Johnny Depp. No. This is about her story. This is about her. And they encouraged her to write it, which is amazing to me. But you see, Jennifer Robinson comes up. And again, Jennifer Robinson was the person that crafted the defense in UK 2020. They've been around a lot longer than that. And there were a lot of problems, by the way, with that UK case. Jen Robinson had many questionable associations with the judge in the UK case. And there was a lot of stuff in that just looked, I'd call it questionable, but that doesn't go far enough. I mean, this person, again, they had associations there that were just strange. Like, for example, the judge in the UK case, his son, okay, the lawsuit was between News Group Newsletter and Dan Wooten. Those were the two parties being sued in the UK. Well, Dan Wooten worked with the judge's son. He worked with him at BBC Radio. I can't remember what the radio there is called, but he was a co-worker of his, which is bad. The judge, the place that Jen Robinson worked for, before the judge became, a sitting judge, he was part of the law firm that Jen Robinson worked for. In fact, the guy who owns it, the judge, and he had actually co-authored a book together. and the judge's, I can't remember if it's wife or ex-wife. I'd have to look up all. It's been 2 years, but they would go and they would have like charity functions, and during those charity functions, Amber Heard would be part of their celebrity charity function. So I mean, they had ties all over it that were just inappropriate. And then seeing Jennifer Robinson named in here, of knowing all of this stuff. Anyhow, Eugene, things to do. Age, come back, sell the father's identity. Yeah. Well, you wonder about some of that, you know. So they go over the different lawyers that are attached to this, but Jen Robertson, like I said, is a big one. No, a big one. So then this lawyer is asked, the one spilling the tea. In connection with the op-ed, what, if anything, was your objective in representing Amber Heard with respect to the review and revision of the op-ed? He says, I reviewed it and spent some significant time on it to make sure that there was no meritorious claim. That means that you wouldn't actually successfully sue. Not that there wouldn't be a lawsuit, but he felt you couldn't successfully sue that could be brought against her in connection with a defamation or related type of tort claim, and ideally, with that in mind, to minimize the possibility of her ever being sued in connection with publishing it. Okay, so he's telling you, right there, he's telling you that he's come in and they're going to define who they're afraid of having sue. They're actually going to bring that up. And of course, you know. Now, they go over the letters, please let me know what you think. Reads very well, forwarding to, and they talk about like who's attached to it. One of the things that you find out with the lawyers that are involved here too, the powers that be at the ACLU have so much political connection and political attachment and hype. It's scary. It is absolutely scary. The powers that JD had to go up against because of this op-ed they're insane. I mean, you're talking about, like, if you look up some of the names that are mentioned in these documents, like, you will find people that were connected to the highest levels of power within our government. They're connected to presidential administrations. They're connected to, like I said, they're big hitters, big hitters. So the names that come up, the lawyers, I'm skipping over them because we're not going to bring up every one of them, but it just gives you an idea, You can see back and forth letters, again, where they're saying, just checking in to see where we are. I need to get back to the ACLU with my edits and thoughts. Please let me know. What is your understanding of what Amber was asking of you at that point? So Amber is writing, telling him, we need to get things done. And this is where they bring up Johnny Depp. So, again, remember, their claim is that the article is not about Johnny Depp. And it very much is about Johnny Depp. It comes up a lot. In fact, in this, you find out that early on in the drafting cycle that she actually wanted to bring up the non-disclosure agreement. She wanted to say, I was, essentially, I'm paraphrasing, but she wanted to say that I was told not to speak about my marriage, that I couldn't do that. So she actually was going to bring that up. And this lawyer here was like, what the hell do you think you're doing? It's pretty funny stuff. So it is truly what I mentioned earlier, which is that my involvement was to ensure that there would be no meritorious legal claim that could be brought against her rising out of the publication of the piece, and moreover, to minimize the likelihood. Obviously, anyone could bring a suit but to minimize the likelihood that somebody actually would bring suit. And we did, in particular, have Johnny Depp in mind. Or in mind, Johnny Depp. So they admit this is about Johnny Depp. They thought that it would do damage to Johnny Depp, and they were taking every effort that they could not to be sued by Johnny Depp. Again, all the secrets revealed. Man, I mean, that again, that is the case. That is our actual case that is being spilled here. By the way, if you're new here, you want to comment or anything, just I turned on the subscriber thing so the bots would not flood the chat. You get the prawn bots, I'm going to call them, and the bit bots. You have to be subscribed for 1 minute. So, I hate turning that thing on. That's why I didn't turn it on at the beginning, but you have to. I mean, when you get a bunch of people. But I appreciate y'all showing up, I mentioned, too, there is a link in our description that is for our book. We have a book out there. I'll mention it later on. I'm going to go through about, we got 30 pages in, so it's a lot of document, a lot of powerful stuff in here. But we have a book. Companies allowed this to happen. Aquaman was used as a weapon. It's Superhero Day today. You know that. National Superhero Day. So on National Superhero Day, you're hearing about how Aquaman was weaponized to destroy a person's life, because that's a superhero. Walk away from these crap companies. But when you walk away, don't give them our hobbies. Walk towards something. We have our own book. It's linked in the description. We'll talk about it a little bit later. But again, actually, I'll pin it in the chat, so you'll know it's there. But I want to get some pages between us before I talk about it. That's my sponsor, by the way. I don't accept sponsors. We make projects. So I pinned it at the top of the chat. All right, so Jen Robertson, you have back and forth, so they have him copied as well as Amber. So on, they say, I just reread through the whole draft, and content-wise, grammar-wise, I think it's good. The only other thing I might add or be aware of is that while Me Too picked up steam in 2017, fully came to life then, the phrase and its association with combating sexual assault has been around since 2006. That kind of bolsters the point that it took a long time and a turning point for it to catch on with a broader public. You do us proud, Amber. I'll grab Eric and make sure that we go in on the legal parts. Now, here's where they're admitting. They want to bring up Me Too. They want to weaponize Me Too. They want to also bring in the idea that even though it didn't go public and catch on until 2017, it, like her claims, they were out there since the very beginning. Well, Josh, thanks for the 5. How does the Daily Mail article from October 25th, 2018 about him being out as Sparrow factor in? Him saying the op-ed caused him losing that? Well, again, here's the thing. The op-eds, like all of these places that are writing about stuff, hit pieces, or, the Daily Mail is a tabloid. They may be fed things, but they're a tabloid. Do they really know? It's about when did you truly lose occupation and stuff. When did this come up? That's one thing that you have to remember with all the claims. You had Christian Carino come out and tell you because of that op-ed, he lost Pirates of the Caribbean. He could not, 6, he could not be cast in it. We heard that from Jerry Bruckheimer himself. And he also lost Houdini, the movie. That's $50 million right there. So you have his guy whom he does not get a lot. They're not friends anymore. That was another thing that was in there. Johnny Depp does not employ the man anymore. They're not friends. They were friends, but they're not friends anymore for whatever reason. They didn't go really, Again, I could see why, frustration and stuff. You would cut teams and everything. But I mean, they weren't terrible or anything. They just don't hang out or anything like that. It's what we're going through. But even then, Christian Carino told the truth about that. Ashley, thanks for the 5 there. Please explain how her attorney betrayed her. Man, I mean, look at this stuff, because he's supposed to disclose some stuff. What he does instead is he blows her entire case up. Like, this blows her case up because it details the entire idea that they're laying down is the op-ed is not about Johnny Depp. That's their defense that they're going with right now. They're still going. They've been going with this for years. This guy goes out. He talks about what happened. Because of this guy, we find out everything. He's the one that spills the beans. He didn't just talk about things. He disclosed letters. He disclosed all types of stuff. When Amber Heard let him talk, she went nuts about this. Like, legally, they wanted to bring him back in and ask him more questions, and she went nuts about it. No. where she was okay with him being asked questions after he started answering questions, after he truly spilt the tea. She wasn't okay with it anymore. She went nuts about it. She expected these people, first of all, I guess she didn't understand receipts. Behind the scenes, there were receipts where these places were communicating. This guy is the reason that we have those and we know about them. We knew bits and pieces, but this guy, out of everyone in that circle, the ACLU, they fought to the ends of the earth to keep her out of this stuff. I mean, they fought. You knew there was a problem with the ACLU. The CHLA came out and they discussed the $3.5 million, but the ACLU, you could tell that they were complicit in all of this because they would not come off of anything. You had all these other people that came out and they fought tooth and nail. They would reveal just a little here, a little there. This guy, he dropped an atomic bomb on her and he just blew her away. That is the biggest betrayal. You have somebody you're paying for services and you bring them in. You're like, yeah, they can talk about this. You don't have the expectation that they're going to bring in letters. They're going to bring up all of the truth. I said, after this guy spoke, they never wanted him to speak again. They went to war to keep him shut down. They never wanted him to speak again. So there's your retrial. It's again, this entire case, their point that they went in, their argument that they went in with before this guy, and they're still holding on to. I mean, look at him. He's torpedoing it right here. It's amazing. Corrupted, thanks for the 5. How did JD lose the UK trial? Likely win this one. Granted, he hasn't won yet, but it sure seems like he should win. Just different laws in UK versus US. Well, here's the difference. What happened in the UK? The UK parties were JD versus NGN or the Sun. Now, with Amber Heard not being a party, JD wasn't allowed to take her to task at all. She changed her narrative on the stand, for example. She did all kinds of crazy stuff. Like she and her sister were caught colluding on a narrative about one of the incidents. They had their timeline wrong. Both of them did. Both of them, after some pictures came up. There was a picture with Keith Richards that we've heard discussion about, and there was another picture as well. And when those came up, again, they blew up her timeline because she supposedly had injuries, this, that, and the other, and other stuff didn't fit in either. They both changed their timeline there, but JD's team wasn't allowed to take her to task for that. The judge wouldn't allow it. The judge agreed with 12 of 14 incidents of DV. One of the incidents he struck down. To give you an idea of how absurd some of these claims were. One incident, she essentially, again, I'm paraphrasing this, but she essentially gets up, she promotes an apology from JD saying, whatever, it's a nebulous apology. And she says, I don't know what happened here, but obviously this is an instance where he's apologizing for DV. And the judge is like, well, I can't award you that because you didn't flesh it out. And he's not saying he wouldn't have. He would have. It's almost like he apologized for not giving her that one. That's the kind of garbage. He accepted everything at face value. The police too, with everything that they said, they weren't good. They weren't trusted. But Josh Drew, who was a freeloader across the hall, dependent on Johnny Depp's dime, that guy was a great trusted witness, according to the judge. So that's just God. You read that decision. If you've never read it, it's lengthy, but it's very telling on what happened. Station, thanks for the 10. Hey, thanks for being OG, following and covering this case. Can you tell us, will this transcript be used in the case? Not sure I understand. Thank you. Yeah, any of these things, they've been used to a point to bolster the case. Any of this stuff. It's just like these transcripts, what they do is they, every person has a deposition where they sit down with them and they ask them questions. And this is why anything about this trial. Again, this is why anything whatsoever. Claire, thanks for 179. Not friends because Rocky ran away with her man. Freaking Rocky, man. Rocky punching faces. Chicken Canada, thanks for the 7. Hey, Tug, made a video comparing Amber's marks on her face with Botox and cheek implants. Credited you with the images. Hope you saw. Yeah, check out Chicken Canada. Actually, there's a lot of people that are getting throttled while they're covering this too. They're one of the channels that has been. They went from getting like 9,000 clicks on something to like 100. It's absolute trash. So check out their channel for sure. Just wiggling through life. Thanks for the 20. Yes, lawyers can be asses. However, a good lawyer will tell you that a nasty lawyer attempting to discredit a smart, beautiful, and likable, say, doctor does not look good. We're all human. Evidence is the goal, but it does matter. Yeah, you know, it matters how you come across to the jury. That's the problem. That's the problem there. So anyway, they're asked what roles other people played in there too. You know, they're asked about every role that people are playing. You know, what did Sean do? You know, what's he doing? Then, you know, they bring up, as he said, then we go to the email from Jen Robertson. And I think you indicated that she was UK counsel. Is that correct? That is correct. UK counsel for Amber Heard. Yep, that's correct. So, again, they're making it very clear. The UK counsel for Amber Heard, you know, the people that are out there that are saying that Amber Heard's, you know, she's a poor victim, and people, you know, Johnny Depp is doing everything that he can to tear down her life. Well, meanwhile, behind the scenes, she's trying to make him the face of violence against women. So, actions, you know. So she turns this over. She defers to another lawyer in one of these. But again, it brings her into the thing. So what Jennifer Robinson has to say, too, you can tell that they've discussed this before. So here's Jen Robinson. As we discussed in London, you have a really powerful story to tell about what happened to you as a result of speaking out. This is an important story, which is not about him. You know, they love to play this game. It's not about him. Yes, it is about him. You may want to play it off the cue of, I'm really talking about myself. But the thing is that it is about him and the fact that you're torpedoing his life. You're aiming this straight at him, at his life, and you're firing away. And you know exactly what's going to happen when you do it. So that's a game that they play. Zoe Girl, thanks for the 5. Link for this depo. Out of the original group with AA, and she were still friends that would lie for her. I have it linked anywhere right this minute, so I'll have to load it up into something. But I don't have it linked into anything right now. Like I said, I got this from a source a while back. A lot of people don't even realize this. See, with all the new people that come into this, they don't know, like, the twists and the turns. There actually was a huge betrayal of Amber Heard. I'm doing what I call the betrayal series. You know, I had the James Franco betrays, Jason Momoa betrays, lawyer betrays, good friend Amber Heard betrays, big one. And then, you know, and does some real damage. Like, I haven't even gotten to that one yet. I'm enjoying the betrayal series, you know, because there's been a lot of betrayals and again, when I'm saying telling the truth, you know, you have to look at it from Amber Heard's perspective. When I say it's a betrayal, that's the way she would perceive it. It's a betrayal. Telling the truth is a betrayal to her, you know, because these people are supposed to be in the pocket for her. And they did damage control for her forever. So anyway, it's not about him. It's about societal and industry responses. And that is a story that is empowering for so many women. I can tell you that I get contacted by women a lot wanting to speak out about the abuse they have suffered, but they face many obstacles, wanting to know for what they do and not what was done for them, or not done to them, rather, the legal cost of defending themselves against legal action, the publicity, what it means for their careers, etc. It is also why it is so important that we ensure that you are protected and survive this as an example of what's possible even in a powerful industry. That's why the Weinstein story was so big globally, for what it said to women everywhere. Oh man, when I read through that, all I think is, what a load of bullshit. Man, first Amber Heard drops a load on a bed, and then her lawyer drops a load in email. I swear. Oh, Lord. Christine, thanks for the 5. JD has people who have worked with him for decades and plainly love him. His lawyers all did too. Both stark contrast with AH. How sad. I'll tell you this. I have talked to dozens and dozens and dozens of people that have been associated with JD. I'm just going to go with that way. Dozens and dozens and dozens. People are diehard loyal to him for a reason. Because the dude is not a snake. He doesn't destroy people's lives. Like, look at all the people that he kept on. He even kept her around. Let's just be honest. He even kept her around, you know. And I mean, you know, when you're looking at that and you're saying, like, why keep her around? I mean, after all, she dropped a load in his bed. Oh, but he's a loyal person. I mean, come on. You know, just wiggling through life. Thanks for the 5. Okay, wait. Who saw the TikTok with the Starbucks that has a tip jar? I saw that competition for Amber Turd and Jack Sparrow. I noticed nobody's been donating to her. Yeah, I saw that one. I thought about covering it really quick. Cindy Ed, thanks for the 20. Thanks, Tug. No, thanks to y'all. Appreciate that. K-Rep, thanks for 10. A question JD's lawyer should ask when they have AH on cross if it was not JD or who you're referring to the op-ed. Yeah, that's exactly what they should do. She won't be able to answer that. And that's true, you know. But, you know, they compare it. Again, you've got to survive this. They know that she is going to, she knows. But see, here's the thing. She can whine and complain about the stress that it causes her. Imagine being the person in the crosshairs with all of this. Imagine this being your life. Because your life, your survival, yeah, that doesn't matter. You know, it's all about her. And again, they don't even entertain the idea that Johnny Depp was abused. Even though you hear it. I mean, you hear it on tapes. Jen there, Robinson, I don't care. I don't care at all. So they go through talking about, you know, did you discuss at any point with Amber any of these issues addressed by Jen in the email? I believe that we did. So they talked about it too. So you have that crossover there. So then it starts out, so they talk about another chain here that goes up at Amber on December the 7th saying, great, I'm happy with this document. I'm happy with the op-ed, the way that you've had. Does everyone's approval to give this back to the ACLU? So they're going back and forth. Again, she's signing off on the document, which is very important because she approves it. We're going to get to, by the way, in this, they're going to tell you, you know, we talk about the non-disclosure agreement, what she wasn't supposed to talk about. It is detailed in this document, exactly what it says. They tell you. Crazy Old Crow, thanks for the 10. You need to cut an album. Tugs When Hit Wonders. I'm pretty sure it'll go aluminum. It will go viral, all right. You'll be like, man, what is that infected with? I'll be like, you know what I'll say? I'll say, well, it may be infected with something, but, I mean, just being fair, at least it's not herpes that I named after James Franco. Isn't that right, Amber? Her lip herpes. Gross, man. So, yuck. If you haven't seen that picture, I've been talking about it. It looks like she has lip herpes. And like I said, I call it little mini Franco. Yeah. Hey, what's up? What's up? Oh. I'm creeping in here and dropping stuff. She's like, I'm going to sneak in here and then drop a bunch of stuff and make a bunch of noise. You know how that always goes wrong when you're like trying to be quiet, a bunch of stuff falls over, you know. So here's another thing, too. They're talking about all the lawyers that they have to bring to bear. Hey, just wanted to touch base with you. I just wanted to check in, touch base with you. It's being run by the lawyers. Should be done within the hour. There's a big team, so it took longer than we'd like. Look, they're using multiple lawyers in this. Multiple ones. Christine, thanks for the 10. Do you know if there's a full audio of the conversation where AH was having with Laura Wasser, where she said she and her friends only had 21 days left at the ECB, and that is part of why I discussed you. That I'd have to check. I'll check, okay? I'll see if there's more. There's a bunch of stuff, you know? Alien Xenomorph, thanks for the 10. Would love to see you go by my favorite live stream, the Mic Stand. It's an amazing show, and you should co-star Yeah, yeah. You know what? Actually, I've been planning on doing that. What I've been trying to do, I've been trying to reference that through a really good friend of mine, Yellow Flash, whom I'll be live streaming with tonight. We've been thinking about going on the mic stand together. I thought it'd be a lot of fun. So stay tuned for that. We're trying to put it all together. Let me see. Going to get cinnamon rolls from Redacted. Need anything? Yes. Oh, my wife handed me a note. She knew I interact. I can't think of anything right now. I would write that down, but maybe the chat would type this for me. I
You
can't
want a
think of anything.
milkshake or, you know.
I don't think I need anything. Thank you there.
Okay.
I love messing with people while I'm online. It's too much fun.
Unfortunately, it's me that you're messing with.
So again, they bring up this giant team of lawyers, though, and she brings this up many times. Which is the threat. They're like, "Ha ha, Johnny Depp's never going to be able to defend himself ever." He wants a Gatorade. He needs some muffins. They said. Who pays for lawyers? Elon Musk. He pays for them. He pays for all of her witnesses' lawyers too. So all of them. See, there was this discussion about who actually did this. Was it Elon Musk or was it a insurance policy? The thing is, an insurance policy, number one, will not pay for your other lawyer or your other people, and they're being paid for because they can't afford this. They have the same lawyers that Amber Heard has. So it's being paid for by the same people. And also a insurance would have pushed for you to settle, And thanks for the 5. JD looks at Amber after winning and says, "You will always remember this as the day that you almost caught Captain Jack Sparrow, indeed." Olivia, thanks for the 2. She's a keeper. Yeah, we've been together for a long time. That's why I like. We goof off casually like that and stuff. We have fun. Josh, thanks for the 2. Think Turd will drop that BS about Kate Moss again? I don't know. They brought in Kate Moss last time. So what they're talking about, they brought up Kate Moss to try to throw. They've thrown in everything. You notice they brought in Vanessa Paradis. So Vanessa Paradis is his ex. Somebody was asking about the abuse claims by her. There are no abuse claims by her. The only people that have ever said that there was abuse in that relationship at all are Amber's team. Vanessa Paradis went on record herself and said that they had a great relationship together. There was no issue. And they threw it under the bus earlier. And thanks for the additional 5. Amber, you're the worst man. Amber, you're the worst man I've ever heard of. JD, but you have heard of me. The sound of he's a pirate. Indeed, that would be funny. Connie, thanks for the 20. And the goal. Thank you for that. Now they point out, now as you roll through, here's what this comes up. I try to keep up with the super chats. The reason I do that, I know people do super chat roundups or whatever, but in the conversation, again, I fall behind sometimes when I do that, depending on what we're talking about, but I like to keep it pertinent with the conversation if I can. If I have guests, I can't do that, but I can do it myself, a lot of times. So here you have the ACLU ambassadorship. So it's here, it really is starting here. All right. And it starts with Jody G emailing Jessica saying, "We are so thrilled to hear Amber will be an official ambassador of the ACLU." So they're pointing out right here that she's given her ambassadorship right before the article is going to go live, when it's being checked over by a bunch of lawyers. Christine W., thanks for the 5. Always wondering what kind of dirt AH has on Musk. I've got a thing to show you later. Again, I've heard some crazy stories, but again, they're all stories. You don't know. But there's a screenshot of somebody saying something that's kind of, ooh. My Beavers unit, thanks for the 2. CVS can't fix the gift Franco keeps giving and giving. That's what I say. If you date James Franco and you get that little thing on your lip, the first thing you do is you pour holy water on it, and the second thing you do is you douse it in penicillin. Maybe they mix the two. Mix the two. Throw it down. Say the Lord's Prayer and a few incantations. Eugene, thanks for the 2. HIO. Insta 2016 loss. 2. wiped all older. Yeah. One of the things too. So Amber Heard, IO Till It Right, all of the main people that you have that built this narrative of lies up, they deleted their social media. They wiped out everything. They did. They very much did. They wiped out anything that would be pertinent to this case. They were all gone. They took away all of their claims, all of their statements. They threw it away after years of weaponizing this mess. TH, thanks for the 5. Bravo. Appreciate that. Alec, thanks for the 2. Petition is now at 2.7 million. I'm going to have to mention it again. I think I'll do a video mentioning it again. Strange Machines, thanks for the 3. Seems like it's an alpaca day indeed. But can you believe, the ACLU, this guy's asked, when did you learn about the ambassadorship, about her becoming an ambassador? And he says, well, I can't pinpoint the date. The best I can do is to tell you that it was around the time period of one of the earlier exhibits that have been shown to me, in which I was directly carbon copied or a direct recipient to the email. Excuse me, I got to clear my throat. I'll have to clear my throat every now and then. It's the weather here. Excuse me. Claire, thanks for the 449. Apparently Barlow is AHPR team. I saw that earlier too. Team has been fired. She is reaching out to others who couldn't afford the $850 each to work with them. Well, that's what she gets. Yeah. People are being referred to Eve Barlow now for comments about Amber Heard. She's become their PR team. So when I say people, I'm talking about the press. They're being referred to Eve Barlow for commentary now. It's for PR. But here, it continues. We were talking about the ambassadorship. And they're saying, they're going back a little bit. So they have I would like to also introduce you to colleagues. So they bring in other people who are part of her team and a bridge between her and our women's rights project. So they connect her into she's part of the main editorial process. She's part of an army of lawyers. She has another team for the Women's Rights Project. No wonder Elon Musk is donating $6 million to them during this time period, not counting the stuff to fulfill her obligations with that. He donated $6 million that we know of around this. And again, the ACLU is a terrible, like every time I keep hearing Elon Musk is going to save my free speech, I keep thinking he's one of the biggest supporters of the ACLU. They tell you that to even get the time of day with the ACLU, you have to share their political beliefs. They believe in shutting down speech because of politics. It's the same thing that you've seen from Twitter. Could he be better than, if he did buy Twitter, could he be better than Twitter is now? Possibly, yeah. You install any free speech, but you know what? It's not going to be, it's going to be the same thing that you see here. He believes in shutting down speech. He believes in destroying lives. He's better at advertising himself than the current people that owned Twitter are. They're all just, it's a new group of buzzwords and a new group of targets, but it's the same old BS. Finbar, thanks for the 2. I hope Deb wins. It goes after everyone else. He could have gone after the ACLU. The problem is he would have brought in an army of lawyers. Did you know, by the way, that the ACLU, before all of this was revealed, they actually tried to put themselves into this case. They tried to pretend that they were like concerned citizens almost. They were concerned. They wanted to offer their help. I forget there's a legal term for that. But they tried to push themselves into this before you found out that they were part of it. They didn't admit to any of this stuff, of course. They kind of kept it on the sly. That's the kind of organization you're dealing with. Again, they're not out there for the betterment of people. They're out there for the betterment of the ACLU. Again, so many other groups. I have no love for the ACLU. I have no love for most of these groups out there, but there's a lot of stuff between the ACLU too, like the subpoenas and everything else that you come up with. Oh, I found something earlier too. Let me pull this up. So when the egg thing, the surrogacy we were talking about, and Amber Heard was coming up as conversation. I'll put the document back up there in just a second, but I want to show you this. So somebody made this for it. When they're talking. about the embryos, and then you found out that Amber Heard called him her Rocket Man. She calls him her Rocket Man. So we had Rocket Egg. A rocket egg. I love him. Look at him. He's so pretty. He would make a good coffee cup, don't you think? Rocket egg blasting off into space. Raquel, thanks for the vibe. Hello, chat. Hope everybody's having a great day. Much love from the AU. Thank you. Look at that. Oh, isn't it cute? Whoosh. Fly, rocket egg, fly. It's rocket egg blasting off. Anyway, let me go back to that. I just saw that in something a minute ago. I had to do the same thing with the with this witness stuff. Eugene, thanks for the 5. In court Thursday, you can see AH picking her lip, digging in it. Very gross. Maybe she has a tick. She has dry lips, and she digs at them all the time. She does it all the time. That's why her quote unquote lip injuries, they look like nastiness you could do to your lips, if you pick at them too much. So, and they add in more people here. They're talking about, in the op-ed, she can argue that it's time to make sure that our leaders take gender-based violence seriously by highlighting the following. So they go through, everything that's going to be on there. Now, what they're referring to right here is the main letter that we understand now as the ACLU letter. That's how I refer to it all the time, the main ACLU letter. It's this letter right here. You have to excuse any redactions I made because if I talk about it on here, like in a video, not in a live stream. In live streams, I'll show whatever usually. But in videos, to get them not throttled for the longest time, you couldn't even bring up her name. So this is the letter they're talking about. Thanks for the 5. I believe the mark on Heard's lip is from lip filler. I wonder if it's more like, you remember Johnny Depp talking about her faking injury by putting nail polish on a piece of Kleenex, I guess is what he said. What if it could be something like that? But anyway, so this is what they're talking about. If you haven't seen it, just fast. Thanks so much, Amber and Sean. This is the one that has not been redacted as much. I haven't removed her name from it, but you can see where I did some redactions. Appreciate your work to protect Amber. So they're going through. Oh, wait. This isn't the ACLU letter. My bad. This is it. My bad. I thought I had this one pulled up. I pulled the other one up. That was the edit letter. This is the main letter. Hi. So they go through, what are your thoughts on doing an op-ed in which she discusses the ways in which survivors of gender-based violence have been made less safe under the Trump administration, how we can take action. It should be time for blah, blah, blah. Newly elected Congress and their priorities. Her ambassador title could appear in the byline. She could argue. So this is what they're going through. They're talking about these are the things that should be arguing, that are against the Trump administration. We should target certain outlets like Teen Vogue, Marie Claire, Vice broadly, or papers like the LA Times. So they, again, this is the letter that they're referring to, just to let you know. That was probably the biggest bombshell letter that we saw hit too, because that was our undeniable proof that this was indeed about him, So you can see all of that. The reason I brought that up, so he's asked, what was your understanding of these issues that are raised? I don't believe I had any such understanding, So then they go back to another person saying, checking in to see whether Amber would like to move forward with this plan. It would be most convenient for us to start the draft. We're more than happy to. We just need to know Amber's availability to jump on the phone so we could quickly go through her thoughts on a few of the discussed topics for the op-ed. So again, you see their coordination and collusion. This guy, he's record kept. That's where we get all of this stuff, Then you have Jody G, her assistant, coming back in saying, we'll get back to you the soonest with feedback. Amber is currently doing a charity project in Mexico. A charity project. It was called Filling My Pockets with $7 million. It was called I steal $3.5 million from kids dying with cancer. I know I'm a scumbag, but hey. She hates people telling you that, calling her, say that she was stealing money from children dying from cancer. She threw a fit about it in a legal document. So every time you refer to her as ripping off the CHLA, you refer to her as stealing money from children dying from cancer. Always say that. And put it in quotes because she hates that. Your latest is the pagan. Thanks for the 5. That image of Elon and with William Shatner cover of Rocket Man, of course. VO216, thanks for the 10. Lurking the court's website, JD Post, Order 5521 about the hearing. Eric George's Depot, Juicy Reed. Elaine was miffed. Yes. Probably need some Amica cream after. Cheers to the strong word. Yeah, it took me a little while. Like I said, I've got some. Well, there's some allegations about who I may or may not be in contact with. Amber Heard says that she's alleged quite a few things. She says that I'm in contact with Johnny Depp and Adam Waldman. I have sources. That's all I'm saying. And I would also say this again. I've said this many times. When you think about sourcing, everyone can contact me. Everyone, but no one gets to own my voice. She could have reached out. They could have totally hit me up with anything that they wanted to as well. But the problem is that, anybody that has known JD or has been, sourcing around Hollywood. I've talked to people in Warner, Disney. I've talked to like lots of people. You'd be surprised. Like, people will talk to you openly if you won't burn them, number one, and number two, if that's a main one, by the way, not burning them. But number two, if you also see companies like Warner, they don't treat their people well. If people are disgruntled, they will talk. They'll tell trash. They'll drop dirt. And Hollywood in general makes people disgruntled. But everyone I talk to, and again, I talk to people that they'd have no reason to be friendly with you. I mean, we're talking like, low on the totem pole workers, high people on the totem pole. Again, plenty of sources out there, and they didn't have negative things to say, and they never saw anything that she's. But of course, you weren't there 24/7, right? David Paradise, thanks for the 10. EM is just another one of Amber's triangulated victims, and him being one of the ACLU's biggest supporters is exactly how she got the op-ed done and became an ambassador to the ACLU in the first place. Yeah, it cost millions, Somebody had to pay the millions. So yeah, you're right. Mandy, thanks for the 5, and the Keep It Up sticker. Thank you. Allie, thanks for the 5. If E is paying her lawyers, do you think he chose bad ones on purpose? She loses. No one will believe her again. In the dirt. Useless. Well, she picked the crazy cat lady. She absolutely did. She picked him. So Rottenborn, I don't know how Rottenborn got involved. I don't know anything about his pedigree. But Crazy Cat Lady's been around forever. If you look at old documents, she was in all of them, Thanks for the 5. The conversation needs to change. It's not us versus them. Violence against any party, regardless of gender, is wrong. Remove the labels, men, women. No, I don't agree. I agree to a point, but I don't agree necessarily. There are issues that are women-only issues that I can never understand. There are issues that are men only that other people will never understand. And then there are issues that overlap. Anybody can have many of the issues, but you have them weighted sometimes on one side. Like false accusations, for example, are heavily weighted toward men right now. Men also, as far as domestic violence are concerned, societally, men don't talk about this stuff because men, look at how they're treated. Like, we hear about women being afraid to speak out, but look at men. Look at how that is. We need a society that, yes, it encompasses it all. And talking about one side does not negate anything with the other side. And again, I'll be very clear in this. I do not believe in believe all. I also do not believe in blame all. Women are not responsible for this. This is broken thing with certain people that did that, and there is a broken judicial system and a broken way of societal thinking that empowers this stuff. Web Surfer Guy, thanks for the 5. Here's another case for Tug and Lug. Where'd the 7 million go? Yeah, there you go. Another case for the littlest umbrella, the case of the missing 7 million. That would be a good one. All right, so they discuss the charity thing. They move off of that. He was going to ask like, what's going on with the charity, and they wouldn't answer that. Like, what charity project is she involved in again? Oh, objection, objection. We don't want us bringing up charity here because blah 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 blah. Then they bring up another letter. I will be speaking with Amber tomorrow afternoon with our op-ed writer and get back to you all with the first draft of Amber edits soon after that. So again, they're asked like what was going on with all of that, and he doesn't plug in anything with that. What you understand's going on there? Well, I don't understand anything at all. So as they keep moving forward, you can see the date moving forward to November 29th. They move back and forth. They'll bring in other players. They'll talk about them. And he's asked, okay, what, if any, communications did you have with the ACLU in connection with your representation of Amber Heard and reviewing the op-ed before publication? He dances around this a bunch. He's like, if you can put something that you have proof of right in front of me, I'll answer it. But otherwise, I'm not going to give you anything else, My beaver's unit, thanks, man. How'd that go again? Blah, blah. I remember that. Are you quoting that that one tape we heard? I'm sorry to say this, but I need a recollection. You see him down tonight. Did you have any recollection of being on any telephone calls with the ACLU? Of course not. There's no writing on that, so of course they can't come back to haunt you. They should have done all of this by telephone. There it is. Why, if you're going to plot and collude behind the scenes, don't put it in writing. If you're going to ruin somebody's life, don't write it down. I mean, what kind of fool do you have to be? Oh, you have to be like Amber Heard. Okay, I understand. But you have to be an idiot. You have to be an absolute idiot to put this stuff in writing. Why would you ever do this? For real. Like, why would you leave a paper trail? Ah, man. I'm looking at when I skip, like they're arguing here, It's a question here. What, if any, influence would the ACLU have had on your review and your representation of Amber Heard in connection with the op-ed? Because I had one client at the time, that's Amber Heard. My representation and knowledge and professionalism were all dedicated to her. So here's another letter, This one we have, we actually have a copy of this too. Let me pull this one up so you can just see this one instead of them telling us what it says. And again, like I said, the reason we have this stuff in the first place is because Amber was dumb enough to let this guy speak, thinking that he would keep his mouth shut. You can look back, like somebody was saying before, I'm perusing the documents, and they had a fit. They had an absolute fit over this guy because once he opened his mouth, man, it wrecked them because all of this stuff starts working in. So you have, hey, Amber, hope your travel's doing great. It's such a pleasure to talk to you. I tried to gather your fire and rage, really interesting analysis, and shape it into op-ed form with mentions of a few policy bits of a growing movement. They're talking about the Me Too movement, obviously. I hope it sounds true to you. It's attached. Sorry for the delay of getting it to you. Many lawyers have reviewed it here and tweaked the policy bits. Your lawyer should review this for the way I skirted around talking about your marriage. So again, you can tell what this is all about. Your lawyer should review this for the way I skirted around talking about your marriage. So they're admitting over and over again that this is about Johnny Depp. They admit it. They brag about it. They laugh about it behind the scenes. It's worse than I knew, actually, even with stuff like this, because I didn't realize they were sitting behind the scenes laughing about things like TMZ articles that are coming out. Oh, she really got him with one. That's your non-biased ACLU hard at work there. They were sitting behind the scenes celebrating when she caused him damage. Kyle, thanks for the 2. Any idea whether other victims are coming in? I'd not heard anything about that. I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything about it, though, so we've heard there are others. Maybe they wouldn't go on record. Like I said, I don't know. Brown-Eyed Girl, 714, thanks for the 20. Thank you for all your time and sharing this info. Doesn't matter whose side you're on, as long as it's based on the true facts. Hashtag justice for Johnny Depp. Yeah, there shouldn't... If Johnny Depp, if I believed that he was a domestic abuser, we wouldn't be having this conversation like this right now. I looked at this case. I looked at it for a long time, and I thought, at first I looked at it as Hollywood novelty. Like, what a shit show. Actually, a shit show, for real. pooping on the bed and stuff. That's why I was looking at this at first. Like, oh my God. Again, the novelty of it, the novelty of the experience, it's worth laughing at. But as you went forward, it became much, much more. So, hi, Amber. Trying to gather that. You see all of it discussed here. I'm skipping over that. So then they bring in, other ones. Apologies for the delay, but I need to pass this through quite a few lawyers. So they're asked, what knowledge do you have of lawyers passing it through? It also says you should show this to your attorney from the long list. Okay, there's another statement there. All right, so they bring up another letter, the one from the long list. All right, this is this letter here. This also ended up in our hands. Almost all of it. We don't have everything. Some of it, all of it's supposed to be uploaded. All of it hasn't been yet. But this is what they're talking about. Again, the redactions are mine because this place, it got so bad covering this case at one time that I couldn't even use her name in videos. That's why I say that certain Aquaman starlet. If you listen to me, and before that, I would treat it almost like Voldemort, the nameless one. I would call her the nameless one. I always thought that was funny. But, I mean, for real, it wasn't fun to cover like that. It was very frustrating. I've been covering, like I said, this for years. And the media... Oh, the media is complicit in this too. I see people sharing court TV and, law and crime. They're complicit. They made this happen. Court TV was bad about it. They doctored video, sharing 6 minutes of 2 minutes and 4 seconds, hyper zooming in on it, making it look like he assaulted Amber Heard. Well, thanks for the 5. Was blocked from sending sticker ×3 for guideline rules. Had 0 offensive language or any problematic info. We'll try asking again later. That's bizarre. They do that sometimes. It's just crazy stuff, Crazy stuff. I don't even understand why it happens that way. Daniel Radcliffe turned on Johnny Depp too. That was disappointing. He was one of the ones that did it. A lot of people, like I said, there are a lot of people that have chosen their battleground, and a lot of that ages like fine milk these days, But here's that. Apologies for the delay, but we really needed this to pass through quite a few lawyers first. Please read redacted notes below. Let them know your edits. Also, you should show this to the attorney, one from the long list. I want to make sure nothing was said here that puts you in jeopardy with your non-disclosure agreement. So, very clear, very concise, and what that one was supposed to say too. Let's continue here. So Amber, let's put aside for a moment whether you would properly call it a non-disclosure agreement, but Amber did have an agreement with Johnny Depp that covered issues about confidentiality. So if that's being referred to with respect to the NDA, then yes, I did have an understanding. He was asked. That was his question. She did have an agreement with Johnny Depp not to run her mouth and to try to destroy his life. She wasn't supposed to talk about this at all. And they're going to discuss what the NDA means, by the way. They're going to discuss the language of it. And it's amazing because it covers everything. Bruno, thanks for the 20. Can we have a picture of next week's witnesses? What is the sad, sorry excuse of a woman going to testify? We were hearing Monday, I'm not sure who else is coming up. There are other names. I'm curious who they're skipping. I mean, it feels like they're skipping people to get there, But, again, non-disclosure agreement. So, they're bringing up, again, judgment, dissolution of marriage between Amber Heard, Johnny Depp. They're asking, hey, are you familiar with what this is? Are you familiar with what's in connection with this stipulation within that? So he's asked, and what was your objective in representing and advising her on the op-ed in connection with this dissolution of marriage? And he's very, now they're gonna define the NDA in just a second. So my objective was to make sure that there could be no meritorious claims that could be brought against Ms. Heard in connection with the publication of the op-ed, whether that is a tort related to, say, defamation or something akin to it, but also including any contract-based breach claim arising in connection with the judgment. So then they bring up, here's the confidentiality clause. This is good stuff. This is really good stuff. The cat, thanks for the $5 there. Are you disgusted with the media coverage? Yes. They're twisting facts. Howard Stern called him a narcissist and said Johnny was overreacting. Yeah, if you're on the other side of Howard Stern these days, you're probably in the right. Howard Stern is a monumental piece of garbage. Gene Knight, thanks for the 2. Amber Heard effect is going down in history. Yeah. So this is the confidentiality one. Let me mention something before we hit that. Perfect place because you got you hooked because you want to know what it says, right? Let me take a word from my sponsor now. This is a perfect place to do it. This is our comic book. We do need your help for real. Pinned at the top of the description. The companies that allowed this crap to happen, they represent not just movies, but they represent other mediums as well. We are like $340 away from, God, look at that. $130,000 on this, going strong. This is a very strong message to those places. This could have been your money, but it ain't your money. This is people walking away and going toward alternatives. We put together a 44-page book. 18 pages is a typical without advertisements for a comic book. So we're much beyond that. Now, you can see the art, how it looks. Look at that art. Oh, so precious. Also, it's a family thing. The little umbrella girl, that's my daughter used to go by that. So this is, her. You see a detective little sidekick going out selling with paranormal adventures. When she gets to see it, it's her and dad going and kicking it. It's all ages, meaning for everyone, not for kids. That's not code for kids. But you can see like she has her own artwork in it too. Awesome stuff. Like I love that. We have both books before that are in here. You can see all of the pages, how they look. You can check that out there too. Again, I'm doing this quickly, but I do want you to check this out. We could always use your help, like I said, definitely. If you want original pages, we have big bundles. And if you're like, hey, Tug, I don't give a crap about a comic book at all, we'll pick up a comic book for a kid and donate that sucker. And then you know what? We'll match it. We'll donate one too. So we'll take it. We'll take them both. We'll put them children's hospitals first. Then we'll go from there. We'll figure out. Like once we find more need, we'll just keep going around. We got a lot. We'll keep going with those. So, like I said, check that out. We could use your help. We can complain about these companies forever. But you know what? The only way that you make a difference in these companies is to actually hit them where they live. And you hit them in the wallet. That's the only way to do it. And of course, when you're doing that, and you should seal your wallet closed for them. You absolutely should. And again, we can complain forever or we can actually do something. And that's what we're trying to do. And you help us. Thank you. Appreciate it. So, NDA. Listen to this. I'm just going to read it as one part. Except for the document previously filed with the court. So, except for previous documents. All right. So, anything filed previously, that stuff that's on record, neither the petitioner nor the respondent shall discuss, publish, or post, or cause to be discussed, published, or posted, directly or indirectly, any information pertaining to the parties' premarital relation, their marriage, or the Dissolution Act on the internet. That includes social media applications, websites, blogs, news periodicals, etc., or in the media in any matter. You notice that, or in the media in any matter. Petitioner and respondent shall also instruct respective agents, friends, family members, representatives not to communicate and or act in any way contrary to this provision. This is the agreement between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Very, very clear. Very clear that she violated this. No way to spin this any other way. She definitely violated that non-disclosure agreement. They won't discuss, publish, post, cause to be discussed, published, or posted directly or indirectly any information pertaining to any of this stuff. Also, no representatives, no agents, no friends, families, nobody. You're not supposed to be talking to the media. You're not supposed to be doing this at all. So her doing this at all. Now, you're probably asking right now, that umbrella guy, why didn't Johnny Depp actually bring a lawsuit about non-disclosure agreement? Well, I decided to ask that question myself. And I got from, let's just say, quote unquote, sources, a very good answer. If he went for the win, which this would have been an easy win because you see that, black and white, easy win. The problem would have been this. Everyone would have They would have still sided with Amber Heard. They would have still sided with what she had to say. It would have still burned down his life, and everyone would have thought, what's he trying to hide? He's just trying to silence a strong, powerful woman. What a monster. That would have been the societal narrative, right? So he had to go a different way. He had to go a way in which people could see what was happening. They could hear what was happening. They had to hear the truth. They had to witness it themselves. And this is the way to do it. So I think that's a very good, when you look at that, that's a very good thing to explain, I think. So what is your understanding of how that would impact Amber Heard with respect to the op-ed? I had to redraw that question. Look at the witness getting all like pissy about stuff too. I hate it when lawyers step on the witness's answers. I'm really going to try not to do that with you, Mr. Chu. It's like, my objective was to ensure that any op-ed would not run afoul of these limitations. How the hell do you not run afoul of this? How did you not? Because you as a respective agent of her are talking about it behind the scenes while trying to make it again sound like it's not about him. They absolutely knew what they were doing. Truzan, thanks for the 5. Have you seen the video from February where he accepted a medal from the president of Serbia? Yeah, I saw that. He said he was on the verge of a new beginning. Yeah, or re-beginning. Yeah, I saw that. I thought that was amazing because, here's the thing that you need to understand. The Hollywood cabal, the people who created this is a U.S. problem. What we're talking about, cancel culture is it works its way abroad, but as far as when I'm talking about Hollywood, the movie industry, Johnny Depp is not canceled in Europe. He's not canceled in that venue or that arena. He is canceled in Hollywood. And when I say in Hollywood, like I said, the cabal there, I'm talking about like Warner, Disney, these power players. They're all connected. Like if you want to see a real display of what they can do, a real display of effery, I guess you could say. Look at what happened with Minamata. Minamata was bought by a company to put out, right? This company decided they wouldn't do that after Warner Brothers unceremoniously cuts him loose, because even though they're no longer tied to Warner Brothers, they're no longer owned by Warner's. They were owned by them at one time. And yeah, they seem to have a lot of power. They spent all that money and they were just going to sit on that movie. That's why it had so many problems. Yeah. Let's see. So then they have text messages to break it up. I'm going to okay. So they keep asking, first of all, like who? Okay. She says, "Hey, Eric. This is a text message. Thanks so much for getting back to me. I think part of the getting back to me on this, I just worry I lose a little bit of my original voice, and the editorial of the ACLU feels the same way, just in a couple of places. I'm wondering if I can send you what they came back with, considering our edits. Do you have a second? Who would give? Would you give it a read? I'm only in the airport where I have a connection. So when she gets the edits back that they've gone through, basically taking out a lot of it, she wants to add in more about herself, to the point of absurdity when you look at it. Like, she wanted to add in even more about Johnny Depp. She fought to get in more. He was fighting against the ACLU with it. So he answers her, this is the lawyer saying, of course, send away. Here's the most important point. We can accommodate both interests, your original voice, and not jeopardizing a contract breach claim. So what did he mean by that? Said, to make sure that she could write something that reflected her true voice, but also didn't run afoul of any of the limitations set forth in the divorce judgment that we looked at. Then she responds, exactly my goal. Thank you so much for being so helpful on this. I just emailed you. Let me know what you think. And you respond back, thank you. We've got a solution. Have a look at the email I just sent. We wouldn't want to have to compromise on this one to achieve the right message and not put you at risk. So, again, they ask, like, getting the same, what did that mean? That I didn't want to see any conflict between her being able to speak her original voice, her desire to make sure that she wouldn't be subjecting herself to a suit. And that's where I'm saying we shouldn't have to compromise. You see you see the game in here, right? Christine, thanks for the. Can you unhide the second that Romer hid accidentally? I will. Just a message. If it's a message, as long as somebody hasn't been, just removing a message. Apologies for whoever got it. Like sometimes people accidentally hide a message or something when the system in YouTube will hide your messages a lot of times, and mods when they're letting them through and stuff, sometimes they'll accidentally hit the wrong button and they'll hide it. So somebody just had one of their messages that's not a ban or anything, and you can't unhide that message like that. I can't. So it's already rolled past, so I can't see it. But I did say it wasn't a ban. So thanks for the 5. When rotten boards only talent, I object to myself. Do you expect aggressive blocking? AH answers interrupt. Jury distraction from AH's abuse or lies. I think tears go along. The person was hidden. I didn't see who they were. I'll have to unhide them later. If somebody would write me and tell me who the person is, I will unhide them with apologies. Like I said, I have to pull up the YouTube studio. I can see the message deletion, but I can't find where the person was. Yeah, every now and then there's an accidental ban or something, and I don't see I can't find the person. Okay, now the user got hit. All right, just somebody send me a. Yeah, no, people got hit. Yeah, well, that means they're kind of muted out. So if somebody would just send me their name via email, I will unblock. I'll fix it. My Beaver's Unit, thanks for the 2. Hangman or Tic-Tac-Toe. What game? The games they play are stupid. But, you're asking about what happens with that. When they're discussing this tier, the tiers are strong. The tiers are very strong, Tiers get very strong there. All right, I'm making a note of people. You know what happened one time? Okay, this is a funny story. I'm just going to tell you this real fast. So one time I was sitting here and I was tired while I was modding, and I almost fell asleep on the keyboard, and I accidentally hid 3 people when I did that. I was like, oh, I'm so tired. And I started to doze off, and I hid 3 people. I had to go and do. So it does happen. Just have to be careful about that. But I'll fix that. I got the 2 names captured. Sorry about that, too. I'll see if I can, like I said, I'll see if I can pull that up while we're discussing things too. Yeah, when you're going over this too, like I said, remember through all of this that she didn't mind this stuff being discussed until you actually got to what was being discussed, the crux of it, the actual, the weighted stuff. I mean, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing to see like how many just crazy things this guy brings to the surface, and he's not supposed to do this. All right, I'm skipping forward a little bit more. So she said, what they came back with. So they're talking about, our edit. So again, what this is establishing, these words here, what they're supposed to mean is that she's involved in that. One of her defenses has been too, that one of her defenses has been that she didn't do anything. She didn't do anything wrong. She's the one that again didn't write enough of this. So she wanted her voice, and yet at the same time she wants deniability. But you can see she's talking about our edits, what we wrote. So she's part of that. Now then you get to this, which I think is a big part. They start talking about Aquaman. So they're talking about the weaponization of a Warner product, which Warner very well knew. When I say walk away from them and walk towards something better, back something that is not these people, I mean that. I mean that fully, because again, you look at what they do. They were fully aware that their products were being utilized to destroy somebody's actual life. I mean, look at this discussion here. They're bringing in Aquaman. They talk about, the connection. Now, he denies that connection, but I want you to think about this. The timing of it. They discuss it in emails, by the way. So they discuss it, the ACLU and her, they discuss the timing of it to coincide with Aquaman to do more damage. And on the stand the other day, they brought up Aquaman. They weaponized the movie Aquaman because they knew it would have more eyes on it. In fact, one of the reasons that they gave her an ambassador title was because she had so many eyes on her because of the Aquaman movie. So again, Warner Brothers allowed their product to be weaponized. They knew it, and like I'm saying here, there's not enough Amica cream in the world to actually wash that all away. I'm just straight up. But then ask about, like, he's like, I don't know any connection, but it is in the emails, and we heard about that the other day. So there's no denying that. They absolutely did weaponize it. And Warner Brothers, they knew about it. They knew because Warner Brothers knew about this stuff. They warned Amber Heard behind the scenes. So this is something, again, it is not in writing. I'm just going to tell you straight up. I know this because, let's just say I know this. Warner Brothers told her point blank not to bring her movies in. That's why, in my opinion, that she has been dropped from, again, they picked her up. They didn't want to pick her up in the first place for Aquaman. They weren't going to pick her up for Aquaman 2, but they ended up doing that. They ended up folding because of, they thought they were going to run afoul of Me Too. That's what they were scared of. Instead of sticking to their guns and backing a man who's making claims, they were afraid they were going to run afoul of Me Too. They perceive it as a woman-only movement, so they didn't care about a male victim because the male victims don't matter. He was accused. It doesn't matter what happened with her because that's a female. So that's what they did. That's absolutely the way the thinking went. So she was told point blank, though, don't tangle our name up in this. Don't tangle up Aquaman in it. And she did, like right away. She had already been doing that anyhow. And her being a pain in the ass to work with, combined with the fact that she did this, they almost didn't bring her back. They told her agent whatever the creative issues. I'd love to hear the excuses that they had there, but I know what their thinking was. Again, sources will tell you a lot of amazing things. Listen, thanks for the two. Thank you for staying on this from the very beginning. Hey, it's fascinating stuff. I'm going to pick up, there's another case that's going to be harder for people to hear about because people are very biased about it, but you keep hearing it brought up here again and again. I'm going to do a primer with Colonel Kurtz, the YouTuber. She's been covering Marilyn Manson for a while. That Marilyn Manson stuff is crazy. You had two main people, one of them fakes being an FBI agent in documents. And it was caught. It wasn't a real FBI agent. They faked it to weaponize people, to convince them that this stuff was going federal. These people, they claim things that are like some of the worst things that could ever happen. Criminal actions, they claim, were done. No proof whatsoever to substantiate it. Your life gets burned down, and people believe it. And she's been covering it for a long time. I'm going to cover that because I hate the idea that we always say, innocent until proven guilty. The problem with this is once you put the words out there, it colors the way that you think about it. Like what Amber Heard did to Johnny Depp automatically colored the way that people perceived him. It didn't matter if you won. What you start doing is trying to disprove his guilt, because you're automatically, the inference that comes up with that is automatic association with guilt. Was he an abuser? Is what you're asking. Was he? That assumes that he was an abuser, because you can never undo that. You can never shove it back in the box. There's an ugliness to that. Well, thanks for the 5. I know in criminal trial, both sides must disclose discovery. Same here. Yeah, they had all the discovery and everything else attached to it. Discovery went late in this, too. It went almost up to the end of March. I think it actually did go to the end of March. So, typically you have at least, a month plus outside of it. This ran right up to the wire. Hey, she bring a nasty surprise and hurt JD beyond no, they know it's coming. They know. They know all the pictures and stuff she's going to play. DL, thanks for the 2. Now they have all the evidentiary slides and stuff in there as well, or the exhibit names. That's what I meant. I said slides for some reason. The evidentiary names, which we can discuss. We may discuss tomorrow. I don't know what we'll discuss tomorrow. Maybe that. DL, thanks for the 2. No statement. Plenty of statement and backing. Thank you. Waves, thanks for the 20. You are amazing. No, you are amazing. All of you. Thank you. And I mean that very much so. So they continue with, again, they're going back and forth with the idea that she wants to keep her voice. She doesn't want to compromise. And again, he's saying many times, my understanding, exactly the same objective that I described earlier, not her being able to have a voice without her being sued. And all of this, it has points, Let me answer this way. Number 1, there was never anything that she said to me to the effect that she was willing to run some risk of being sued, or that she wouldn't listen to any counsel or anything of that sort. And number 2, that she affirmatively did follow in all instances my counsel with respect to public. And so even though you have these letters going back and forth where she's like, I need more voice, I need this, I need that. He's like, no. She wasn't trying to get herself sued. No, she never thought that she would run into any problem. She thought that she would get to walk away free, Now, they start talking about other, this has legal edits for ACLU op-ed. And then it has ACLU revised draft of EG and JR edits. So they talk about, the edits by 2 different people. They have an edit by Eric George, and they have an edit by Jen Robinson, the lawyer in the UK. So the lawyer in the UK themselves is involved in putting this thing together. That's crazy, right? Sharon Lynn, thanks for the 7. Thanks for the super sticker there. Appreciate that. And thanks for the 2. Do we know when the turd will be on the stand? People are saying Monday. I figured there'd be more to present, but that's what's being thrown out there. So we'll see. There have been a lot of sources saying that. So we'll see. Heather Painter, thanks for the 5. You're number 1. Thank you for that. I appreciate you folks. Civility, thanks for the 10. Living your best life talk. Yeah, trying to do that. You know what? I mean, people like this YouTube channel has definitely kicked up our best life. So I do appreciate it. It's been life-changing, It has allowed us to do things that I never would have been able to do. Again, I'm a mental health practitioner. I've worked in mental health for the longest time. I don't work like, the doctors that you saw in the trial. I work with the poor. We do get people that are working class, but we work with the poor. You don't get rich working with Medicare and Medicaid. So, it's more, money can't be the only thing, but it's a nice thing. So this thing, it's allowed me covering this and other things, being able to talk about justice. It's had, so, like I said, living your best life. Yeah, and I thank you for it. Thank everybody for showing up when you watch videos, all of that. It does so much. So, and thanks for the 5. A turd controlled, manipulated, dominated JD so long. She didn't think he would ever defend himself. He surprised her. Yes. She actually was surprised when he countersued. She was shocked by it. CC, thanks for the 7. I get so much flack for saying We should not believe all victims. You should be investigating all accusations. Most people don't lie, but it happens. Oh, a lot of people lie. You know, I mean, it's like this. If people don't believe it, I invite you to take 100 random. Since it goes with believe all women is how it goes. That's exactly the hashtag to it. If people believe that, then take 100 random women, put them in a chat group, and give them your banking information. They will never steal from you. You know why? Because they're all honest. They're all good people. I mean, we lock our doors for a reason. It's because some people can't be trusted. And there are plenty of false accusations out there. We have no idea how many there are, but it is very prevalent in our society because people get ahead by doing that. You know, there are a lot of people, and again, you know, there are a lot of people that will use any movement. You know, I love how, like, the media, like, I read an article the other day that was talking about me being from the manosphere, and they kept bringing up things like these people, they talk about feminism, and like, I don't bring up feminism. I don't talk about it at all. But at the same time, any movement can be co-opted and hijacked. Anything. It doesn't matter what it is. They all get co-opted. They all get hijacked, and they all get used for terrible means. PDC, thanks for the vibe. Be prepared. If AH's lips, fingers, or pen are moving, she's lying. Yeah, my mega pints, muffins, and couch, ready for Monday or whatever. Exactly. I'm going to rest on the couch. And Matt Bond, thanks for the 5. Dare you to show up at court as Umbrella Guy and yell, Amber, after a good tug. Make sure you bring your cream. Oh, yeah, it'd be fun getting kicked out of there in a hurry. It'd be a New York second. I'd be like, ah. All right, so they start getting into some fascinating stuff. Like I said, they have 2 drafts now. One of the drafts, if you want to see what these drafts look like, let me show you, because they also have drafts that we can pull up. Give me 1 minute. I'm going to pull up 2 things. First of all, I want to pull up this where you can see. Okay, what I'm pulling up here is a show of what was included in some of the back and forth, showcasing exactly how it did bring up JD. Remember, the end sentence was, then 2 years ago, I felt the full force of our culture's wrath for women who speak out. Early on, it was 2 years ago, after I got a temporary restraining order against my then husband, I felt the full force of. So you have letters going back and forth saying things like, hey, you know that? We need to remove words like marriage, divorce, restraining order. We need to take all of that out. We got to get rid of it. You have the entire, you can see what they were striking out about this. She brings up marriage in a bunch of times, you know. Like, she lied anyway about what happened when they went and got the TRO. There's footage of it, but she says, you know, I remember the day I left the courtroom and walked into a pack of hundreds of photographers. I didn't have a team of bodyguards. My lawyers used their own bodies to block out space for me. I walked to the car. The whole way there, I heard the press yelling the same question in one form or another. Is it true you're making all this up? That's a lie. That didn't happen. That did not happen. There's footage of it. But you can see other places. Within my marriage anyway, you know, here, look at this. They'll make this, this sets Eric George off. He goes crazy. I signed an agreement not to talk about my marriage, and I will not do that here. In any event, what is far more revealing is what happened to me publicly, within my marriage anyway, because it shows how institutions protect men accused of abuse. I signed an agreement not to talk about my marriage, and I will not do that here. Again, NDA, there it is. She mentioned it. He went crazy. He's like, you can't do that. You can't mention the non-disclosure agreement. She brings it up in one of her drafts. She wanted it in there where she's complaining about having her voice, you know. I'm going to jerk on things to do. LOL, Jack Goldman is in the manosphere. Apparently, you know, I have more women that listen to my channel than men these days. It's strange that if I'm in the manosphere, you would think, you know, like 98% of my people that listen would be, my audience would be like men, right? I mean, that would make sense, right? Not like 49 point something percent, you know? I always find that funny. Yeah, here's proof of the manosphere, you know, at work. Red, thanks for the 5. I sent in a request for him to have your book purchased through the library I work at. Hey, that'd be cool, you know. It'd be really cool. I donated copies to my library down as well. That would actually be, you know, I like the fact that kids can get a hold of our books and, you know, families, and introduce that. I think that's good. So thank you for that. But you see, okay, the drafts, they're not just, I mean, the entire, this is, you know, when my name got associated with domestic abuse, you know, she brought up her lawyer and her therapist. You know, again, she's told, like, you can't bring up some of this stuff. You know, you don't need to bring up some of that. And you see, again, when this was timed, like I said, they weaponized Aquaman. Amber Heard is an actress whose new movie, Aquaman, is coming to theaters this month, and she is an ACLU ambassador on women's rights. So, again, you see how that comes up. Timorous Bledsoe, thanks for the 10. No statement, plenty of statement backing. Thank you very much. Appreciate that for real. Little Chaos, thanks for the 2. Could this end in a settlement? Could. I doubt it. I doubt JD is going to settle with that person. The only way I could see him settling is if she would take full guilt. If she, you know, she could. I mean, honestly, it would doom her career, but her career's doomed anyway. She could come out and say, you know, I did this. I'm not mentally unwell. I'm mentally unwell. I'm having issues. You heard about my diagnosis. I just realized that, you know, of the damage I'm doing, I'm going to retire for a while. She could leave public eye for a few years, but she couldn't do that, you know. So she'll never do that. She'll never take a settlement. And Zircon, thanks for the 2. I think the ladies love good family men like you. I think ladies like hearing from people that don't, like, as a man, I see problems that men deal with. And I talk about that, but I don't blame women for the problems there. I blame a legal system. I blame some women that, like an Amber Heard, I blame individuals. You know, it doesn't matter what she's packing between her legs. She managed to do this. I think people appreciate that. And you know, you also have to add the acknowledgement that women have their own issues, and we all have our issues too. I think that's a major part of all of this. There's, you know, we have societal issues. You know, we have big ones. And I think people just appreciate that. I think people also appreciate the fact that when you look at these, most women do not want a man's life burned down because of a fake allegation. They want, just like you and I, they want a survivor to actually be looked after, to be cared for. And I think instead of finger pointing, I think focusing on that, I think people appreciate that, men and women. Pastor Flash, thanks for doing. There are no girls on the internet tug. Indeed. Thanks for the 5. In my experience, people with BPD can be very abusive, all while believing they're truly innocent. If she has it, she needs help. She definitely, like, again, I've been saying for a while, again, I can't diagnose a person remotely. All right. So what I mean by that is I cannot step in and I cannot point the finger and say, this is what that's unethical. It's unethical to be able to do that. All these doctors, all these shrinks that are doing that, it is unethical. You're not allowed to do that. Having said that, looking at the medical records, everything else, as I've said before, I would have definitely applied both of those labels. I've said that from Jump Street. The borderline actually worked out. It works out. Like, she definitely does meet that criteria. Now, there's not going to be consensus. You'll have people that will argue this. There's a few people online, I'm sure. Like, there's some big names, I'm sure, on YouTube that have probably argued this by now, saying one way or the other, because there will never be consensus. Diagnostics is not a science. It is an art that is backed by science, but it is still an art. You have to get it right, and people will disagree on it. Sadie, thanks for the 5. Kim, they used the letter that Whitney's friend wrote to her. The judge said something about 19 of 20 they were going to go through Friday. Do you know what it was? I'm not sure what that was. I'll have to go and review that just to see, because this is not catching with me. Yeah, they could use anything. Will they use? That's the question. Will they use? Joe P, thanks for the 5. Just saying thank you for breaking this down for us. Appreciate you. Yeah, I think it's important to go through this thing. So you see them again. They're breaking down the letter that they just discussed. Now, they have. You can see like Jennifer Robinson getting involved. ACL. I received a red line version. I think the edits make perfect sense. I had one thought, however, in the attached statement, I highlighted the one part. I'm curious to see if there's perhaps another version, if we could keep there. Maybe instead of, then 2 years ago, I sought a temporary restraining order from the husband. We could 2 years ago, after successfully acquiring. So you can see Jen Robinson, her lawyer in the UK, is on board making edits. She's making editorial comments. So it's not just this guy here. Jen Robinson, the person that is going to represent her in the UK, knew full well what she had been doing behind the scenes and still lied about it. She's not trying to ruin JD. She's not doing all of this. Oh, no. That's not true at all, Leah, thanks for the 5. I started following you from the UK. I'm grateful for what you do. I appreciate all of you folks, like I said. Very much so. AG Kitty Hook, thanks for the 5. Amica is a mythical Atlantean plant that is used to create waterproof cream that stimulates bruising on the skin. I'd wondered where it came from. I'm glad you broke that down for me. Atlantean, indeed. That's funny. Now, as they go forward, you can say, oh, you did a great job. Then Amber asks your thoughts and you respond, you did a great job on this. I see no reason why we can't leave in your elegant language while still eliminating references to the court proceedings. Elegant language. Have you have you read the op-ed? Elegant language? Oh my God. Yeah, it's some real Shakespeare there, I'm telling you. Elegant language, my freaking eye, man. And I was exposed to abuse at an early age. I knew certain things young without ever having to be told. I knew that men have the power physically, socially, and financially, and a lot of institutions support that arrangement. I knew this long before I had the words to articulate it, and I bet you learned it young too. Like many women, by the time I was college age, I'd been harassed and sexually assaulted. But I kept quiet. I did not expect filing complaints to bring justice, and I did not see myself as a victim. Again, this is the draft they're talking about. Then 2 years ago, I sought a temporary restraining order against my then husband, only to feel the force of our culture's wrath. For women to speak out. You see that? Yeah, very. That's not her words. Most of those are not her words. They are somebody else's words. Anything, the elegance there, psh. Lee Moore, thanks for the 349. Watching from New Zealand. Great work. Hashtag me poo. Indeed. Katrina, thanks for the 7.99. Appreciate that. Hope they use stuff as proof. Everyone involved who tried to ruin this man should be done for. The lies are out there. No case left, right? Well, it's not in the proof. It's not in the proof. It's in how you present it. So again, they got to convince a jury of all of this. That's the issue. I mean, at the end of the day, that is the issue. They have to convince a jury. I hope. I really wish Adam Waldman was there. I would feel much safer with Adam Waldman being there with her on the stand. Just to be honest, Adam Waldman was taken off the case because of some nastiness from her side, some garbage. She took all the documents that you see in this case, and she gave them to the UK court. That undid any classified marking of it. Then he put something online that came from the UK 2020 trial. He put it, he put out a piece of that on Twitter. They threw a fit saying that he was showing classified information, and it worked. Even though she had turned over all these documents to UK and they were made public, you and I already had access. Him sharing a piece of something that was part of that public record. That was somehow 2R. It's crazy. Like, I was like, are you kidding me? Thanks for the 20 there. I lived with a woman who was diagnosed with BPD. She would attack me simply because I would give her attention when she wanted it. She also slept around because she felt she had to make connections with people. Yes, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to be around somebody with BPD, especially that doesn't want to change. Now, there are a lot of people out there that have been diagnosed and want to change. So I don't want to throw that at everyone, but it is very difficult for people in relationships to deal look at the reactions that you see in a situation like this case. You have a slight, even if it's not there, you have the perception of a slight, and that slight leads to overreactions. It leads to insanity within the homes, and that's, whew. I feel for you there for sure. Westy Ware, it's a dog kilt, so thanks for the 2. Settlement option ended an hour before this case began. Oh, there you go. There you go then. Llama, is my tip jar working? It should be working. It should be. I've had tips come through on the regular, so it should be. Yeah. Yeah, I've had a couple of tips come through. Let's see. A Beaver Unit, thanks for the 2. So Mad Amica to give me a tie herbs. That's true. So when we're rolling through this too, one of the things that you really run into, they have their deadlines. They talk about, team, we're on an urgent deadline, and something I sent to Amber at 5:20 now cannot be retrieved. So they have their deadline. They're right down to it. They're right down, because they had to get that out at a special time, because they had to influence Congress. They had to drop it at a specific time to use the movie to make it work. Again, I get all over this document. It is all over this document, the guilt in it. So you have him signing off on saying, like, I don't think there's problems here. There's no conflicts that come in with certain portions. And they're going to get in an argument in a minute. I'm scrolling through, So, because the part that I read you, so here's, hi, Amber, is there any room at all for rejigger the sentence we had before? I signed an agreement not to talk about my marriage, and I will not do that here. What happened to me publicly is more interesting and revealing than what happened with my marriage anyway, because it shows how. So you see where she put that in. They're like, yo, I don't want that. That line there is not good. That's a problem, And then, they have pointed out, now it reads, when I began to give my voice to observations and opinions I had for too long kept locked within, the reaction was instantaneous. So you see them changing, part of the document. But it's funny. Like, when that comes up, they're like, oh, you can't have that. You can't say that. Absent Dallas, thanks for the 5. Tug is a mental health pro. Have you watched H. Judith's breakdown of AH's mental health? I found it quite relevant. I recommend. Probably, I'll have to check and see. I've seen a couple of breakdowns that were actually very good. So I'll have to see if that's one that I looked at. It may be, though. Maybe one of them I checked. So they go through. Now it reads, when I began to get into my voice too, I see what the lawyers are trying to do, but don't think it's quite makes sense with what comes after that. None of the fallout happened because you gave my voice to observations and opinions, and making it so oblique kind of detracts from the incredibly powerful point that you are in the rare position of witnessing from the eye of the storm exactly how institutions cover up for perpetrators. Or we could even hedge more and cast it as people accused of perpetuating abuse. Is there room to maneuver? And then now Amber then sends this to you and says, please see below from the editorial team of the ACLU. I agree completely and feel it's missing without having the below originally included in the initial draft. But let me know if I can go ahead and give her the go-ahead to try to rework it a tiny bit. I don't anticipate it being a problem considering she is working from the elegant and fine-tuned drafts you guys approved yesterday. So you see, again, they're having this. She's like, I want it to have more weight. I want it to have weight. I want it to have teeth. I want to bite there. PTC, thanks for the tip. I'm a victim of DEV. It's never okay. No matter gender. AH is, that's exactly right, by the way. AH is literally killing those of us who are actual victims. She has set back the progress of DV awareness 50 years. AH, please just shut up. Tell the truth for once. Well, and that's the thing. That's the problem with them. You know, I want to be able to believe. I wish that if a person just came forward, and again, you know, there is this societal misunderstanding of empathy versus the damage that is allowed to happen. If somebody comes forward and they say, me too, it happened to me too, automatically, I want to give my empathy for that. I do. I want to be able to say, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. You know, there are people out there and they want to help you move forward if you need it, if you need a shoulder, whatever. The problem becomes that people like Amber Heard want to weaponize that. And they don't say, this happened to me. They say, he did this to me. And when they say that, it automatically carries the weight of destroying somebody because what they're saying is so reprehensible. That person over there that they're blaming, that person is a scumbag. You know, that person is done. They need to go away. They need to never come back. And they know what they're doing there too. And it hurts, like you said. It doesn't just hurt people that are trying to make a case or something. It just hurts people that are looking for some empathy. Because society, it's already hard enough, man. It's hard getting through with the baggage and weight people carry. This is baggage that it's soul-crushing baggage. So, yeah, people like Amber Heard have done an injustice to everyone. I think they've done injustice to people that haven't had this happen because, again, they take away something from them. They take away something where they could grow, they could understand what people go through, but instead it reverts people to automatically not wanting to, not even wanting to hear it. Cheryl B., thanks for the 10. Just want to say thank you for covering this. Team Johnny, by the way. P.S. Drew Barrymore is trending on Twitter, but it's not for a good thing. Also, can lawyers representing JD and AH watch this stuff? Yes, lawyers can watch whatever they want. The judge can watch whatever they want. Witnesses cannot watch whatever they want. So, I mean, that's a big, thing with that. Drew Barrymore is trending. What did Drew Barrymore do? I'm curious. Does that have something to do with what we're talking about? Leah, thanks for the 5. The postponement of the trial by 1 year was a blessing in disguise, considering what came up. Yeah, the body cam footage came up, the charitable donation stuff came up, and so much more. But we had physical evidence that came up that just slams this stuff. So yeah, you're right. That year, it was a very crucial year. And thanks for the super chat there, Emma Cream, for an applicable herpes. I don't think you want that amic cream on your herpes and hope it goes away. Don, thanks for the 5 there. As ACLU lists big money donors after learning they're unethical, mock DV in order to hit jobs like a criminal enterprise does with EM is capo, obviously. I wonder how big donors actually look at that stuff. I do. Violet Hummingbird, thanks for the tune. Can you describe histrionic in more detail? Let's do that. We can do that tomorrow. We'll talk about diagnostics and some other stuff. That way I can give it my full attention. Okay, because I can talk about it some right now, but the problem is, like, I won't give it enough detail. Like, we could go through the two diagnostics. You know, if people want to do that, we can talk about that, and we can talk about other evidence too. Because I mean, that's a bigger. If you're okay with that, I think that's a good conversation. I just want to give it the time it deserves. I don't want to just cut it short and say, yeah, this is it and that's it. You know. So you have, them talking about here's Eric George coming back to their statement about they want to keep this about the marriage, and Eric George is coming back and being like, yo, here's the challenge. Confidentiality agreement in divorce judgment is as broad as it gets. We have to live with it. And he's asked, what do you mean by that? So what I meant by that was that it was imperative that in publishing the op-ed, she not run afoul of the judgment of dissolution of marriage. And in that judgment was very broad confidential provisions, so that therefore, with respect to whatever it was that she was going to be publishing, she didn't run afoul of it. And that's where my edits were designed to achieve. And then he goes on to say, the ACLU folks are surely well-intentioned, but they don't understand how broad it is. It literally prevents you from writing or discussing any information about your marriage or divorce. That's why I wrote the edits the way I did. There's no way that I am letting you expose yourself to the inevitable claim a breach of the other side's lawyers would make. Where the article to state, I signed an agreement not to talk about my marriage, and I will not publicly do that here. What happens to me publicly is more interesting and revealing than what happened with my marriage anyway, because it shows how institutions protect men. There. So I was asked, what does that mean? I meant exactly those words, that I was not going to compromise in my effort to accommodate anyone else who may not know about the specifics of confidentiality requirements and the judgment of dissolution of marriage, if to do so would expose Ms. Heard to a claim of breach. So again, he's having a war with the ACLU and stuff because they want to do even more. They want to hurt JD. They want to do damage. They absolutely want to do damage, Cheryl, thanks for the 5 there. Drew Barrymore is trending for making fun of the trial, especially Johnny Depp cutting a finger off. And her guest was Anthony Anderson. Oh, Drew. Yeah, making fun of men, that's beautiful. That's what I'm saying. Like, you reverse that, and you see how much of a career a man has left, if he goes and makes fun of something like that. But again, she'll just come out, she'll be like, oops, so sorry. And that'll be that. I mean, it's insane how this works. Like men, that's why men don't speak out, especially. That's why they don't. Because they become fair game. Becca Booker, thanks for the 8. Drew Barrymore making a mockery out of JD in the case on a talk show. Never liked her. I mean, it's just scumbaggery. Scumbaggy behavior. Lady Moore, thanks for the $8.99. AH is like my sister. Had to cut ties after she bit my husband so hard that he needed a tetanus shot. Jesus, that's crazy. Life is better without these toxic people. Hashtag MePoo. Yes, our society, here's my problem with our society. Our society has become so insular and so easily offended that we forget what is truly offensive. I tell people, I appreciate all of you that show up to my channel, by the way, but if you're easily offended, you won't like me because I believe in free speech. I'm sometimes crass. I'm sometimes an a-hole. I hang around with people that are a-holes sometimes. They will say mean things to people, and sometimes I will too. You won't like that, but that's not the problem in the world. Mean words aren't our problem. If that's the worst thing we have, then we are operating at such a high point in life. It's glorious, right? If that's the only thing that you have to complain about. What we truly have here is a society that will bury people, victims, survivors. They will bury you with a word, an utterance. And the same society that gets mad or quote unquote triggered by things. That same society made it to where we couldn't talk about that subject, because if you talked about it, they would bury your life and your livelihood, because you dared utter a word about false accusations or men's rights or a million other things, because people want to be, again, you don't have to agree with me on everything. You don't have to agree with me on anything. That's your right too. But it's astounding to me that we somehow, in becoming so easily offended and insular in our little bitty bubbles, that we forgot what was truly a problem. Like many people, you can tell people who have never lived, like truly lived, truly experienced or suffered, when you look at what causes them when they have meltdowns over. I see. I said, for example, the other day, I've seen people melt down about, a person called another person fat or ugly. Okay, they're being rude. They're assholes. You don't like people being assholes? Okay, that's fine. But if that's the worst thing in the world, oh my God, for real. On the other side, I made a statement about how I thought, when I first saw Whitney Heard, I thought that Amber Heard had a transgender sister. I mean, that's a matter-of-fact statement. That's what I thought. And you have people out there like, oh my God, how dare you say that? Why? Because I thought that? Because that's what I thought. How dare you utter that? Again, if life is so offensive that we can't make matter-of-fact statements like that, or people make false accusations, those are matter-of-fact statements. That's life. Just people get so offended by bullshit, and they forget that there are real problems out there. You know? It just makes me mad sometimes. People are so... They forgot what, again, some people live very comfortable lives. You know, and other people, they've seen life. Again, you don't have to want a society where people are mean to each other either. But it's just amazing what people get so mad about. Logan Coker, thanks for the 10 there. Hey, Tug, have you had any feedback from us about this platform surveys? No, I don't get any feedback from the surveys. Actually, I don't get any feedback from them. So, no. If you get one, though, giving it a great feedback, I appreciate that. But I'm sure it has some decision, but I don't know what. Ghost Bunny, thanks for the 10. Hey, Tug, I share 2 After Storm Rainbow pics on your tweet about this stream. I would like to share some positivity in such an uncertain time. Can you share those if you have time? Afterwards, I'll check them out and see what's what. For sure. Impressed. Thanks for the 10. Love your content. Thank you. No, see, okay, this is how that came up. Let me give that context just real quick. So if you look up Amber Heard and her sister, Amber Heard, Whitney Heard, there was a conversation yesterday, or the last day of trial, where the bodyguard, Starling Jenkins, was being told that essentially he couldn't tell the two apart, right? Now, when you look at them, again, here's the two of them. Okay, I'm going to show you both of them. This is why this comes up in conversation at all. So here's the two of them. Now, you're going to tell me that a bodyguard can't tell the two apart? Because one of them was throwing up in a parking lot, and Amber Heard doesn't want herself to be called an alcoholic and stuff. So they were saying, well, Whitney at the time was pregnant, and Whitney, they look the same. Now, when I looked at them again, my commentary on they do not look the same. In fact, this is what I thought when I first saw them. So they're all like, oh my God, how dare you think thoughts? But I mean, they do not look the same. Imagine being a bodyguard like attached to that. You could definitely tell the two apart. That's just an absurd idea. So anyway, let's hit a few more pages off that thing. It's an absurd idea. You can't tell those two apart though. They took aim at Starling Jenkins and tried to bury him on the stand, saying that was the problem. Alex Bird, thanks for 2. 1 hour sexy toast video. I'm addicted. Sounds sexy. Nice. Thanks for the 5. Don't worry. I rated a video where you destroyed AH 5 stars. Heartwarmed the other day. Oh, that's so sweet. So they're going through more exhibits. Let's see. They take a break. You gotta. I like how they keep the note in. Let's take a 10-minute break. Okay. So they have another email. There. I signed an agreement not to talk about my marriage, and I will not do here, etc. What happened to me. So, and her other suggestion was. So again, they talk about their suggestions on what they need to take out. They're having more discussions. Now, Amber sends this to you and Mr. Walsh and Jennifer Robinson saying, please see below from the editorial team at the ACLU. I agree completely and feel it's missing without having to below. So, and then your response. So they go through the response there. Then Sean Walsh comes back and says, I think Eric's edits still get us 95% of what we want. I say send it out and damn the torpedoes ahead. And then it comes back to you and Amber responds, thank you for explaining it so clear. So then you respond saying, thanks, A. Here's the thing. Any reference at all to the marriage or divorce, even to say the word marriage or divorce, and then elaborate on that you're not, in fact, talking about it, is a technical violation. Would a reasonable ex or his lawyer object? Of course not. Will the opposing side we're dealing with? Likely yes. So you see that. If you're reasonable, you wouldn't object to that. But, yeah. Sure. Her bringing up you and your marriage when she's not supposed to, and then only to say, that's not really what I'm talking about. Yeah. A reasonable person wouldn't have a problem with that. Katrina, thanks for the 8. With so many lies exposed, even her lawyer lying. Amica, her credibility eradicated. Wouldn't that mean case done, though? Well, her case is definitely done in the public eye. The problem is, her tears are going to be powerful, and she's going to spin a very sordid tale on the stand, a very sordid one that we're going to hear. Terry Bolton, thanks for the 5. I highly recommend watching Monica Python, The Holy Grail, to put context to JD's text with Paul Bettany. I want to put text. Here's the thing. I want to put even more context with that. I want you to think about it this way. JD's texts that were sent there, you realize that you're not just seeing a couple of texts that he sent. AH's team got to look through an entire 10 years of his text, the entirety of it, because in the UK, his lawyers were stupid enough, his ex ones. I think they also shared a client. They made 3 big mistakes before he got rid of them. I think it's because they worked for another master. I think they worked for Rocket Man, because that was somebody, that they had long-term contact with, but they dumped 10 years of his texts on the other side. So it's not like they got snippets or to pick and choose. They got to see everything, and these are the best selections. So when you see all those messages about that, that's all they have. That's all that was there, period, because everything in JD's life for 10 years was exposed. Like, that doesn't happen. Like, Paul Bettany texts have nothing to do with this case at all. They wouldn't have been turned over within the course or the scope of this. He would have never had that turned over at all. But a bunch of idiot lawyers turned it over. So really, when you look at that, keep that in mind, because that's the truth about it, But yes, it's also, when you look at the Monty Python skit, I mean, you can see it plays straight out. But again, who cares about that, right? Context. She doesn't care about context until it comes to something she says. Then context matters. PTC, thanks for the 20. AH has taken away the power, future DV victims. That's true. The power of your 12, 13, 14-year-old who's been victimized but feels like they can't come forward because people might not believe them. AH, please stop and think. You would want that, but again, life has to be about AH, and what's sad about that, we also, in diagnosis, we give her plenty of support in doing that to people too. That's the crazy thing as well. So, he says what he meant by all of this is that, so I wanted to make sure that there would be not only any not only any meritorious argument that anybody would have that AH proceeded in a way that violated the judgment of dissolution, but also as a practical matter, to the extent possible, she would in fact not find herself in a situation where a claim would be made against her. Now, what do you mean by would a reasonable ex or his lawyer object? Of course not. Will the opposing side? Likely yes. That with respect to the language that has been proposed here by the ACLU. I signed an agreement not to talk about my marriage, and I would not do that. It's not unreasonable per se, but again, I wanted to make sure that. You see him trying to wiggle out. Now, I didn't just spit in your face and say that you all were, a bunch of whiny babies. And why did you say, will the opposing side that we're dealing with, likely yes, what were you referring to? Mr. Depp, again, so straight up, there's an admission, Mr. Depp. Because, as I mentioned earlier, I've come to regard him as a highly litigious individual. I certainly don't mean any disrespect to Mr. Chu. I don't even know if he was involved in the proceeding at that point. But as far as Mr. Depp himself, there was a series of lawsuits that brought that, of course, had come to our attention in connection with prior interactions, and I did not want the same litigiousness to be brought against Amber Heard. So they know, like what's nasty about this is they know they're likely to be sued. And they're like, we're going to power ahead with it anyway because damn the torpedoes, right? Like, that's lovely, isn't it? Gene Knight, thanks for the 5. Do you think Amber could save face if she goes up on the stand and says, yes, the abuse never happened? I knew she wouldn't do that. She could save herself $50 million, maybe, but, they could work something out. But no, she would never do that. And she's buried regardless. Like the public has already decided. And the public, you got to remember, like she can walk away with this with money, maybe. But at the end of the day, the public has already decided she's guilty. So she has no career left. Because you may have people out there that want to argue something that benefits themselves, but at the end of the day, they can't argue something that benefits Amber Heard. They may spin it into, something, and they can work themselves into that. But again, the arguments, they don't benefit Amber Heard in the slightest. 18, thanks for the 5. I think we would all be canceled if someone read texts about our exes. I would be. I've said way worse about mine. Oh, yeah, I've said some nasty stuff. You say some nasty stuff when I'm mad, Celtic Warrior Opponent, thanks for the 5. Tug, if I unsub and resub, will you drop the mic with a welcome to Tug's Thugs? If you're part of it and I've never given you one, here, I'll give you the thing if I missed you before. Celtic Warrior Opponent, thank you and welcome. Thank you for the membership too, and welcome to Tug's Thugs. I may have missed you before, so if I missed you there you go. Because I really appreciate it. Yes, Meyer, thanks for the 15. What about Whitney? What's her play here? If she's going down with the ship or telling the truth, hoping for some kind of redemption arc, knowing that her choice will follow her publicly forever. Whitney's going to throw in with Amber. She's already done it. She already did it. She did it in the UK 2020. She's going to do it again. So she's going to throw in with them. Yeah. She definitely will. Like I said, this is, now think about this. So we've been going over this article, and again, talking about other stuff. There's more here. So we'll probably go till about 8:50. There's a good 40 minutes more that we can cover because there's a lot of powerful stuff. And we'll talk about whatever comes up as we go. But I just want you to think about this. All the bombshell activity that you see dropped, that was 82 pages so far. That's how much this guy gives away. So I propose we be artful in the words we use so we can convey the same message without exposing you to the claim that you violated the agreement. And then you made a proposal here. What do you mean by so we can convey the same message without exposing you to the claim? So I wanted her to be able to speak with her authentic voice, like he said, without being sued there, and also to minimize the likelihood that, even if it were non-meritorious, that she would, in fact, get sued. Again, as we all know, you can't prevent somebody from banging a suit, but you can try to handicap the situation and minimize the likelihood of that by making the record one where it just simply wouldn't be a reasonable suit that somebody would be bringing. Again, they know they're going to be sued. One of many cats. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for the membership, too. And welcome to Tugs Thugs. Thank you for that. I like saying that. To the point that I've got it down to almost a science, what I like to say there. Now, at the same time, thank you for real. Was it your legal opinion that the advice that you had provided to Amber Heard in the connection with the op-ed was a way to handicap and minimize the possibility of the action being brought against her? So they rephrase it. And your connection represented related to the op-ed was your objective in providing the advice you gave to Amber Heard. Sure. It was an ensure that with the publication of such an op-ed as edited, there'd be no meritorious claim brought against her. I thought I heard somebody walking down my steps here. Where it was in defamation or some other tort. So he goes through, his whole, lawsuit. This is why I'm here. This is why I'm here. Let's see. So they have another interaction here. We saw Amber expressing her concern that the paragraph was nixed. But then I'm going to indicate here that she asked Eric or Sean, would you be able to speak soon with my team at the ACLU? So she has, here's the thing with that too. My team at the ACLU. She has her own team assigned to things. She has a damn team assigned to her work here. I mean, think about that. She has her own freaking team assigned to what she's doing. I think that's insane. I mean, I think that's absolutely insane. Like, she doesn't have staff or a couple of people. She has an entire team assigned to her. I think that's nuts. It tells you how much money's involved too. Elon Musk paid millions. Again, we know about $6 million plus the $800,000 that he paid. We don't know how much more that Elon's put in, but they credit him with being one of the biggest backers they've ever had. They credit him openly. They talk about it on Twitter before. They thanked him for being one of the biggest supporters ever for the ACLU. So, thanks for the 5 there. JD seems like the guy who signed a non-disclosure to protect Amber Heard, Amber Heard, not himself. He did. Like, it's in one of the text messages, or rather one of the audio messages. So there's an audio message between the two parties that she's like, how do I get my reputation back? Crying to JD. And you know what he does? Even though she's ruining his life, you know what he does? He steps up and he says, I'm going to help you by, here's what we can do. And he brings up the idea of the confidentiality agreement. So, yeah, that's exactly why it exists. It exists to save her reputation. You're right. As horrible as that is. Oh. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Shabak Wookie, thanks for the 7 there. I think I need a metal gauntlet. So we can have an epic love story for the ages with Rotten Morton. Something real hard. I appreciate spikes in it. Amica. Hey, Amica will clear anything. So you meant that in Minecraft, by the way. That wasn't real life. You've got to always add in Minecraft, I wish I had a gauntlet in Minecraft to introduce to you. That's the best way to... I'm sorry, counsel. I just don't. I don't have any recollections. You see all its denials in there too, when they're going through. So you see, again, thank you, Amber and Sean. I so appreciate your work on this project. I appreciate your work to protect Amber and also make this piece true to her experience. To protect Amber. Again, can't get her sued because they know what they're doing. All this does, what this reveals here is it reveals the game. It reveals the ugliness. It reveals the nastiness. Oh, all right. Did you bring the books in?
Yeah.
Where are they at? Oh, down here? Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah. She just said they were out shooting,
All right.
so
Sorry, one
they
second.
weren't home when
Yeah.
I was supposed to
You
go.
enjoyed this case so far? Watching it and noticing the
You know what? Like, this case has opened my eyes to so many different things.
Did this case open your eyes to what I've spent 2 years trying to cover? What kind of insanity or why I got involved in this?
I'm gonna tell you, this case has like made me look at myself as well, right? As a female, like I'm like, oh my gosh, do I say these things? Do I do these things? Like
No. Typically females don't do these things. Typically
like
people
the toxic femininity in it is
no,
really
well,
what.
see that's why that's why the diagnostics come in because you, I think diagnostics is used as an excuse for people like Amber Heard, but at the same time, when you look at it, the reason that you diagnose someone like Amber Heard is because societally she can't interact in the same way that most people can. She can't function in society. She has this problem to the point that anything done is perceived a certain way. Victimization.
I, on a certain scale, can understand arguments and people not agreeing on something and it becoming, an escalated situation. But when it comes to the point that you're actually causing physical harm and violence, that's a
Yeah.
problem.
People
That's a problem. Like if you are violent towards your partner, that is a problem. And I find it interesting that people don't think that women are this way, yet we have a higher percentage of like mothers to children, right, that harm their children. Women are more likely to harm their partners because they are.
No. Actually, the most violent relationships there are women relationships.
Yes.
They have the highest percentage of violence.
I think it has a lot to do with hormones and emotions, and I think we do get excuses because we do have vaginas and we do carry children. I think there's a lot to this that, like, I feel that Johnny Depp was abused. I honestly do. I feel she was a toxic woman that harmed her partner, and then she tried to, like, wiggle out of it. She tried to blame him because he's the man in the relationship, right? Like, that's ridiculous. No.
I think it's more than that. I think it's more to deal with. She married him for clout. And,
Well, yeah, you can tell she married him for clout.
Clout.
She wanted that money.
Give her a microphone as she just walked in. she's getting ready to leave. She could sit down.
I've actually got a microphone over on Lola Meets, so.
Yeah, actually, if I had your link here, I would.
I do talk about these things over on my channel, but more in a degenerate way because I'm a
In
degenerate.
a degenerate way. Yeah, she does have a channel. Let me share the link to it. And if you folks want to, she's got 547 subs. She definitely needs a sub influx. So if you want to, I'm going to drop it. Subscribing's free, listening's free. So there's a link that I just dropped in the description. You could subscribe there. Definitely check it out. Enjoy it.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I talk about comics and then this kind of stuff as well. So
Yeah. All right. You out?
yeah, I'm out.
All right. I'll see you later.
Love
Careful. Love you. Anu, thanks for the 5. JD seems like a guy who signed a non-disclosure. I got that one there. I got the metal grab, making sure I catch everybody. Michael, hey, thanks for the 50 there. Thank you for that. Thank you for all you do, for all the work you put in. Do you think we are going to hear anything in court about the timestamps on photos versus the elevator I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I hope so. I hope so, but I don't know. I push anything I think is pertinent to sources where I know it will go to the people that it needs to go to, but I can't say what will ever be used, Will this come up through a JD expert witness or in cross? Like I said, I don't know. I wish I could say yes or no, but yeah, I'm not privy to like the inner workings of what they'll do when it's on the stand like that. If they'll work it in or not. I wish I didn't know that because I really wanted to. PTC, thank you. Welcome. Thank you for the membership too. Welcome to Tug's Thugs. Appreciate that. Yeah, if you want to subscribe, let's see how that subscribing is going. Yeah, 620 right there. Already almost picked up 100. You know, it's hard to get subscribers. She's got 620 there. Like I said, subscription's free. I'll drop it one more time. If people want to sub, I want to get her up to 1,000 subs just to just to make it happen. Yeah. She said, before, like, I don't want to be known as somebody who, rode someone else's coattails. I'm like, no, people have to find you on YouTube. That's it. That's it. You know, people have to share you, they support you, and that's part of it. So I get that, but at the same time, thanks for the 10. When I first heard Miss Umbrella for the first time, I thought it was love for some reason. Then she started cursing like a sailor, and I realized it wasn't the daughter. That's funny. Yeah, she's been keeping up with this case for about 2 years, maybe longer, like since I covered it. And when people see it play out in real life, like also what makes this stick out too, like I said, there are certain sources, like my wife knows that I've contacted or been in contact with, like names that just mind-boggling sometimes, because people in Hollywood, they support JD, and there's been big voices out there, and I think that drove it home too. Like, again, I know I'm being vague in that, but knowing this person right here, and them consenting to that being known too, but driving home how big that is, and that this is a sad reality. Like, you have a lot of people that are coming in and advocating for JD now, but for the longest time, it was people like Yellow Flash, people like myself, people like, say, Andy, Popcorn Planet. Though you're talking about channels, not mainstream publications, channels that are doing advocacy. I covered it for Straight, and other people would come in and they cover on and off, and they all did good jobs. Good props to those and many other people. But I'm just saying, its size of subscriber base, you're talking about 100, 200, 300,000 subscribers. That's what advocacy you got, because the mainstream media betrayed. They all unanimously agreed that this guy should have his life destroyed. You didn't have advocacy done. You didn't have it on either side of the aisle, too, just to be quite frank about it. The people that should be screaming due process, like, there were very few of the, and I'm not talking about individuals. I'm talking about publications, media, either side, because JD said something about, like, the Orange Man. You had publications jumping all over him saying, oh my God, he did that. Therefore, the people that would typically say due process or, whatever, they weren't about that either. They didn't even play that game. And it was sad. I was like, man, not even that publication. Again, I'm not saying that one side or the other. Again, I'm trying to stay out of a politic thing. Because I consider them both, as far as political sides, I consider them both equally useless. So, yeah. I don't want you to take that. If you feel like I insult your horse, if you have one in there, well, don't worry, I insult the other horse too. I don't like either of them, and we mostly agree on that. I think. Just wiggling through life. Thanks for the 5. Just let Miss Umbrella know I joined, and tell her this is what makes us good people. Questioning ourselves like this. I ask my hubs the same thing. Yeah, over time, I mean, this stuff is not about Hollywood. It took me a long time to make people, I still have people that don't get this. I don't care about the celebrity to it. There was a person's life, like the celebrity stature, that's what the word I'm going for. The celebrity stature matters because that stature makes it reach so many other people. But it's not about a celebrity. It's about a person having their life burned down when they were abused behind the scenes and had the script flipped on them. Now, the person that's doing this, they had to have backing. They had to have a fat wallet too, because right now, already, again, I'm probably underselling this, but I know publicly from costs of trial and putting certain things on in the UK and other costs that have been associated, I know that the bill was up to over $6 million. And that doesn't include New York. That doesn't include all the stuff that went on with LA. Because this has been fought in 3 court systems here in the United States. The cost of this, I mean, it's probably double what I think it is, maybe more. But I know for a fact that it's over $6 million. But I'm sure it's probably double or more of that. Because again, I don't know the totals for other court systems. I have no idea. Like you think about this. To get the ACLU information alone, he had to go and he had to sue. He had to pull the New York Supreme Court into it. They had just months of arguing back and forth. Then when they were told that they had to come, they had to do something, they petitioned, argued, wasted time, tried to burn time more. The guy you saw from the ACLU that took the stand, that guy, they wanted to bring in another dude, even though that guy was the one that had direct contact with Amber Heard. They wanted to bring in somebody different because they said that it didn't matter, blah, blah, blah. So, they fought and fought and fought. They delayed. They did anything that they could. They kicked and screamed. They acted like petulant children, because they weren't getting their way. And at the end of it, they deserve to be drug out into the light, but it costs a lot of money. A lot of money. So, I mean, you just have to keep that in mind. Like, how much did it cost this guy? Like again, the celebrity statute, or statute, I see you saying statute, stature, it's important because people see it. It was also important because it gave, like, most people could never fight a fight like this. Like, you or I'm sure, could never fight a fight like this. I mean, none of us could probably ever get down to that, probably ever do anything like this. No. They talk about the other edits, that entire edit that I focused on for the 2 years ago after I became the public figure representing domestic abuse. They talk about that as well, bringing it up. And when they're bringing that in, again, this guy, my whole point in bringing all of this up is the fact that this guy, again, he took the stand with Amber Heard thinking that he might reveal a few things, but he was never going to take the stand and say, point blank, my job was to keep her from getting sued because Johnny Depp, well, this was all about him, and we knew that he may well sue us. He may well take us to task. He may well throw us under the spokes, Big surprise. Thanks for the 5. Can JD's lawyers use a statement made by Melania regarding the release of the products stated the AH used throughout their marriage? Yeah, here will be the issue for the makeup thing. She's going to say, well, that was just me making drawing some kind of parallel or something. She's going to pretend that wasn't, she didn't mean that product specifically. She meant products like that. You mark my words, because they've already started doing that. So yes, they could, but that's going to be their deflection point, and it'll go nowhere. It'll mean nothing. I think that argument would be effective on the jury, because the jury doesn't have the ability, like you and I. We can sit down and we can rewind. We can see what the actual state. They could go back and listen to something, but like, when we're sitting on the internet, we could pull up like her team saying X, and then this is what the makeup line said is Y, and then we can emphasize the points that they made, saying this is the product, because that's the wording that was used. So yeah, you could bring that up, but I think what this becomes about at the end of the day is, was this op-ed about Johnny Depp? Yes. Was this op-ed meant to destroy him? Yes. Did it do the point? Yes. Was he an abuser? There's where your question's going to be. Your main question is going to be whether or not he was an abuser. And that's what they're going to focus on. They're going to get up on the stand. She's going to put on a big song and dance. She's going to put on the waterworks. She's going to do an effective job doing that too. But how effective? How effective is the question. So, I mean, that's what you really have to ask yourself. Will she be able to, when you're watching all of this, will she be able to convince the jury that there was actual abuse or not? And again, even mutual, if they think it was mutually abusive, if they thought that, it still causes him problems, because at the end of the day, she gets to be a spokesperson for domestic violence. You want to talk about hypocrisy in society too? Even the people that are saying that this was mutually abusive, I do not believe that, by the way, but the people who say that, though many of those people, they write off everything that was done in the aftermath. So you get to tell me that you don't have a problem with her becoming a spokesperson for domestic violence associations. You don't have a problem with that because you think it was somehow mutually abusive. Okay. W. Paradise, thanks for the vibe. What's your email so I can contact you privately? I can help JD, hopefully me, and all other genuine victims of narcissistic abuse. My email, anybody can contact. If I do not contact you back, by the way, it is no slight. I get buried in messages and stuff, and again, by the time I get off this and do other stuff and make videos, there's very little time left in the day anyway, because I do have a day job too. So, I've taken vacation from a lot of stuff, but I still do stuff associated with it to make it work. But it is 2 words, granular, GRANULAR, HEAVEN, so it's heaven, granular heaven, @gmail.com. Now, there's a few other, again, there are a few other statements in this that are pretty powerful. But again, the thing that you need to realize because of this turn was, again, the letters that you saw. Let me pull this up here. The exhibits that you saw the other day, the ACLU letters, like, again, as we call them, those things, they became available. Now, these were, I believe, the Daily Mail. You want to hear about some craziness, by the way. So when these first came up, when the Daily Mail first published these, you know what happened to the article in Google? It became unfindable as far as you could link to it. And if you did a search outside of mail, you could find it some of the time. But if you looked in the news, if you looked through, news sections, you looked up ACLU or you looked up Johnny Depp or all of that, you couldn't find it. It became unsearchable through Google. That's happened a lot with stuff that's come up about that too, because anything that was considered even remotely positive for JD, it had to be buried. And it was. It absolutely was. And the places that talked about that, they got buried too. Like that was another big piece of that puzzle. It wasn't just that the information got buried. It was the places that talked about it. They would get buried. Now, why would that matter, you might ask? Well, because at the end of the day, if a place is going to talk about this and they're going to bring it up, what do you think? What do you think would happen in that discussion? What do you think? What do you think would happen to a place that, again, they're going full bore or full tilt into this, and they need to be able to find subscribers? They're gonna be like, whoa, I'm not gonna cover this. And I think that was the whole plan there. You have some very powerful people that didn't want this news to come out. And I watched it be suppressed. It's not some people might want to call that conspiratorial, but it's not. It's absolutely not. You could see it be suppressed. Again, if you look at my video and my video types when I would discuss all of this stuff, it I got to the point myself, like playing around with the algorithm. Even now, right now, if I use two different titles, I'll upload the same video sometimes multiple times because you have to. Like, if there's no problem with the video, there may be a problem with the video I uploaded about lawyer betrayal. I had to get that approved. I couldn't upload it right when I put it out. But let's see. I called the problem it had was title, and in the title, the first title I said the one I'm using now, Amber Heard's lawyer betrays her, gives Depp the win. Depp win? They don't want you doing that. They'll sometimes they'll let through like certain, like if you could say huge Depp win, maybe, but if you said Depp's big win, it doesn't come through. It gets throttled and it gets demonetized. If you use justice in connection with the word with Johnny in the title, that gets demonetized, and it gets throttled. Its reach gets throttled. Now, some places, again, the media doesn't deal with this. Like this is just a YouTuber issue. The media absolutely doesn't deal with this. The mainstream, you look at like Court TV and all of those other networks, the ones that have done all this damage for years, they get a pass. Again, it's in the algorithm itself. They get a pass. They're considered newsworthy, where YouTubers aren't. But it's insane. Like dealing with that for years, I can tell you. It got to the point that, again, I mean, you see like, you see the edits in some of this stuff where you take out words like if Amber's name appeared on something or it was about her, and you had something like you had words like gender-based violence or something, you could see like edit all of her names out of here, and there's a lot of stuff I could use Orange Man's name, but I can't use hers. Like tell me the absurdity to that. It, again, the platforms warred on the truth. I got my channel struck 9 times covering this. 2 years. 9 times for no reason. Like none of the strikes were upheld, but they put my channel out of commission for, I'm going to say, well over a month. Plus, it caused me issues, having to build my stuff up. Eve Barlow was just right there, dead center, doing this stuff too. Front and center, making sure you could prominently see you're doing it. And these folks were doing all this stuff behind the scenes as well, just crazy things. Making sure that, like I said, you knew that was going on because they wanted you to know. They wanted you to know. They wanted you to move on to different subjects. I would get frustrated and think, man, I'm ready to move on. And then they would strike something and it would piss me off. And I would go, nah, I'm going to stick with this. But I did get frustrated covering sometimes because they would do that, and you couldn't use the names of the people that you're talking about. Even you would have to, like, I couldn't just sit down and discuss this openly or honestly. I had to edit what I was saying, and the editorial wasn't about being nice or mean. I mean, a lot of people don't realize this. Okay, so. You want to know the kind of stuff that Amber Heard's teams pulled in this stuff. Like a lot of people don't realize. For example, there was a document that was released by Amber Heard's team, and I've removed the information here, but you can see all these people that are on the list here, like Paul Bettany and Isaac B. and Christian Carino. Like you notice all those names, Dr. Cowan, they were all doxxed by her. She released all of their contact information into the public. They didn't redact any of it. So in a public document, they dumped the addresses of almost 80, I think it was 83 people, actually, if I'm remembering it correctly. But it was an army of people that were connected in some way, shape, or form to JD. they were like, oopsie, oops, didn't mean to do that. But they doxed 83 people that were associated with it. These people, they doxed his sister. I mean, it's insanity. They put out their contact information for the world to see. Most people have no idea that happened. On top of it, Amber Heard was accused of stealing somebody's assault story. She was accused of taking her give me one second, I'm pulling something up here. Her assistant's story. And there was also another story that again, this never makes it around. She also, the iPhone to the eye thing. Well, I think that she stole that story from Johnny Depp. What really happened was that Johnny Depp had a remote control thrown at his head. This was actually detailed by one of his witnesses. It was another story that she stole. There were pictures of it. I have pictures filed away for that too. I ended up with this. This came through a source too. So this was something that you won't see attached to the case because you can't prove. That's what it is. But I very much suspect that Amber Heard stole the phone story being thrown at her face because she did something very similar. She threw a remote control at JD's head and cracked it. Look at the cracks in there. I've got the picture that's attached here too, but I have to dig it up. But you can see the cracks in the remote. She threw it so hard that it fractured the remote control on his head. So all that story about, throwing the device and cracking it on somebody's head, yeah, it has a root, all right. It has a root cause. It's the cause is something that she did. I think that's nuts. If you go back again and you look up, I kept folders of this stuff, trying to keep up with all of the insanity that happened over time, and the further in that you look, the further that you journey down that insane, into that insane story, the more you realize, this person is absolutely crazy. They're absolutely crazy. They did terrible things to people. And then again, they would steal their abuse stories. They did that to, I believe, at least 2 people that I've seen, and maybe more. Again, you had more than one person say that she had been asking people about what they experienced in DV, and the reason I think she did that is because some of her story, it feels like she knows about DV, but how does she know about DV? That's the question. It doesn't sound like she knows about it because she experienced something. It sounds like she knows about it because she asked the right people the question. What is it like? Anyway, I think I'm gonna do a little wrap up here. So, anybody got any questions they want to go over? There's more we could go over in that document. It's a long document. There's a lot to it, but again, you see the betrayal there. You see it. We got about 100 pages in. It's a beast of a transcript. There are other transcripts out there too. I'm trying to. I really want to get my hands on a few of them out there, but I've not been able to do it yet. And I'm hoping we can get a hold of all of them, if nothing else, at the end of the case. Before anything ends with it. Will AH testify Monday? That's what we're hearing. That's what we're hearing. Where the hell is my bear claw? When did Eve comment on your video? Which video? Is this deposition going to be shown in trial? They don't show the depos like that. What they did is they mined it for items. Yeah, like you heard the ACLU guy the other day talking. that ACLU guy ended up in the only reason that we found out about the ACLU and that rabbit hole was because, first of all, there were a lot of items. She brought this question in first and foremost of charitable donations. The $7 million. She kept bragging about it. So, it was used as part of her defense. She ended up bringing that in, saying, I'm not a gold digger, and this is how I prove it. So she actually brought that in. The thing was, then you had CHLA. They were slow to provide stuff, but it was because they were short-staffed. We had the beer bug, all of those issues. On the other side, the ACLU, they were combative. They were very much combative. And the farther you went down that rabbit hole, the more that was found out. And again, that's Adam Waldman's baby. He's the one who he put all that together. So props to that guy. Just wiggling through life. Thanks for the 5. Please, let's do the breakdown of the psych stuff. We can do that. We definitely can. A lot of people are asking when you said you would. Thanks for all you do. We can. If you want to do that tomorrow, I mean, we can go through the breakdown of diagnostics. I'll do my best with that. I do that when I talk about it. I am a person who diagnoses people, so I've diagnosed quite a few people in my life. I also, as I've said before, I work with one of the things that interested me in these cases is because at one time I worked with both sides of that. I worked with for offenders. You got to remember this: offenders, particularly child offenders, they have to be monitored to the point that they can never reoffend, and they still may reoffend, but they have to be monitored. Somebody has to monitor them forever, and if they don't, the recidivism rate, the reoffense rate for offenders in that classification is around 80% in the first year. If they're monitored, if they stay in case management, therapy, all of the medication, all of that regimen, they drop down to about 20%. You still have 1 in 5 that are going to reoffend in the first year. But now, sexual abusers, people who go to prison, the recidivism rate over life, according to the California courts, was around 88%. So, sexual offenders, some of the stuff that's being alleged in this, like, again, I worked with both at one time, but I just couldn't do it after a while. I couldn't. You sat across the table from some smarmy piece of garbage, that just the excuses are bad enough. I was just wired that way, or blah blah blah. That gets old. That gets very old very fast. But then you get some smarmy piece of garbage that doesn't care. They just sit across from you and they smile about it because they're proud of what they did, and you want to knock their teeth down their throat. Yeah, you have to choose. Can you knock their teeth down their throat, or do you do something else? Now, working with victims, I did that. Now, I didn't work with victims that were right in the stabilization, like they're removed from their homes, like children, for example, if they're removed right from their homes and they need someone to work with them right then. I wouldn't do that typically. Every now and then I would end up with some kids there because I work with the poor. I work with people on Medicare and Medicaid, so people who cannot get help otherwise, and there are not a lot of options for people like that. So, sometimes you do end up with somebody that is not like that's not a specialty. I don't have a specialty in that, and usually you want a specialty licensure for somebody that would do that kind of work. So. But still, you end up working with them. But afterwards, I would end up working with a lot of people because, again, when you're working with people that don't have money, they have to have providers, and there's very few, especially in rural areas like this. There are very few providers. It's rough. So I worked with kid victims for the longest time, especially like adult victims some, but kid victims a lot until. There's we're talking about diagnostics. There's it's considered secondary trauma, right? You sit around and you hear about this stuff and it messes you up. Like I say, excuse my wording the way I say this with profanity, but it fucks you up inside. It does. I mean, in ways that like I can't even explain. And again, that's not taking anything from the people that do that. But man, you sit across from like some 7-year-old telling you the worst things known to man, and it will mess you up inside. And it did for a long time. It messed me up, man. I couldn't listen to it. I couldn't stay stone faced anymore. It messed with my emotions. You know, I couldn't. I just couldn't do it anymore. So you know, after a while, I didn't work with that. And having kids, it really will mess you up. Like I still have problems with that. Like I can't go out. I like my kids. I can't have them play outside without me being able to see them. If I'm at a store, if my little kid like walks behind me, it fills me with like, oh God, the dread and the horror inside of it. You know, again, it's to a point that it's beyond any reasonable limit. You know, obviously you want to be careful, but it's beyond reasonable limits. But I still do work in mental health. I sometimes will work with clientele, but not very much anymore. I do train people on how to diagnose sometimes. I did a lot of that when we switched from the DSM-4, like the TR, to the DSM-5. You know, trying to explain to people, because it's not just, here's the thing, diagnostics isn't just about getting somebody the best diagnosis. It's about getting the best diagnosis they can get paid for. Now, that may not impact somebody like a Johnny Depp or an Amber Heard, because they're paying a private doctor. But even then, you could tell that the doctor that was there, they were using insurance in some way. And you could tell because of the way that they classified their diagnostics. You know, you had Johnny Depp, you know, he had substance abuse he was being seen for, but if you notice, his main diagnostic criteria was not substance abuse, it was something else. Because billing-wise, you can't bill substance abuse first unless there's specific, you have to be like a specific type of provider and blah, blah, blah. But for us, you know, like again, I did that for a long time. So I don't mind talking about diagnosis or anything like that. And that explains why I'm drawn to cases like this, because again, those words, you know, abuser, a victim or a survivor, all those words mean something. They have great meaning, in fact, you know. Let me see, I missed it. Chicken Canada, thanks for the $2.79. Please check Twitter. I really want your blessing. I'll check it out. Like, a lot of stuff on Twitter gets buried. That's the problem with Twitter, just to say. I'm going to play the Hammer song real quick while we're leaving. If you've not heard the Hammer song, just to give you a little bit of background with the Hammer song. I don't want to spend it forever on it, but just to explain the Hammer song, yeah, there was it's got a profanity and all kinds of fun in it too, by the way. It comes up on the channel called Finatra. But the Hammer song was created, I had a rant at somebody who decided to, amongst other things, they told my wife she should kill herself and, you know, other things. So I had a lovely rant at them, and it was put to song. Some people back in the day, I mean, these people get crazy online. It's, you know, they said that some of their self-professed goal was to drive to miscarriage and things like that. So I got to rant at one of them one day, and yeah, it was pretty fun. Like I said, somebody put it to song. If you have a problem with profanity, you probably won't like the song, but you should enjoy the rant. It's good. So let's listen to it. I always like to tell people what this is about. This is done by Finatra, Finatra. I'm going to put the link in the description, or I'm going to put it in the chat, but let's hear it. Here we go. It's about 2 minutes and something. I'm going to start out low and then I'll turn it up if I need to.
You know who these people are? You guys are all the same. You are not clean. You have no backbone, no spine. None of you. Like I said, if you ran into me in real life, you would be afraid. You would not pull this shit in real life. What did you say about my wife? What you said? You know, you wouldn't say that to my face, though. Again. But you fucking think that you can hide behind a keyboard. I know who you people are. If you ran your mouth like that in real life to me, I will beat you with a fucking hammer. Motherfucker! And I'm not kidding about that. I'm the kind of person that you should be scared of. You are not fucking man enough to step to my fucking face. And no, you listen to me. I don't fuck with your families. I don't do any of that shit.
Did I say that?
Yeah, you fucking my fucking God, dude. Show me the post right now.
Did I say that?
Show me the post right now. My fucking God, dude. You would not do that shit to my face. So again, you need to think the fuck about what you do online because it has real fucking world consequences. That's the thing. I'm a better person than you because I don't come to your home. So I'm a better person than you. You people know that I care about my family, so you think that's my weak spot. My weak spot is my temper. I will beat you with a fucking hammer. Motherfucker! Think you're a big man? That's what you people don't understand. Internet crosses over into real life, bud. And when you guys cross over into my fucking real life, you expect me to sit here and be calm and fucking just take it. And I'm telling you, the only reason that something hasn't happened with that shit is because I will beat you with a fucking hammer. Motherfucker! Think you're a big man? You know, no, you ran your fucking mouth. You're like a punk bitch. You're just a punk bitch. You're just a punk bitch. Dude, you came on here running your goddamn mouth. Punk bitch, you're a bitch. Punk bitch. Bitch. My fucking God, dude. And I'm telling you right now that you're a bitch. Hey, I'm serious, man. I'm serious. Like, if you were to step to me in real life like that, I would fucking beat you with a hammer.
That is some G shit, son. You're fucking G.
Ah, catharsis. I like that song. I wish I could remix stuff like that. So let me catch. There's 3 super chats through there. Debbie Parodies. I put the email in the comments. So there you go. There. Can't afford more. Please go slower with your email. You don't need to respond, but someone does need to read it. It's important. I can help. Again, 2 words: granular, heaven. You know, I spell it, but it's just 2 words slammed together with a Gmail. But I stuck it in there in the comments too. You just copy it there. Shabak Wookie, thanks for the 279. BPD has 245, 265 categories right. How do you pick? Diagnostics. Like, here's the thing with any kind of diagnostics. Diagnostics is not a science. It has fine tool that scales and whatnot that help you pick. But it's an art, and sometimes you fail. Again, like there's a lot of people that are not, there's no consensus in diagnostics sometimes. You just want to go with a larger diagnostic, and you look at, you know, well, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it tomorrow. There's a lot to stuff. I'm John. Thanks for the 2 there. Tug trying to steal thunder from Flash's stream. Oh, yeah, it's time for us to go. I actually got to go over there now. So tonight, Flashcast tonight. Let's go over. Let's have fun. If you haven't checked out Flashcast, if you're easily offended, don't go there. But if you want to have fun with us, come over there. It's at Yellow Flash 2's channel. You need to go over there and have fun, like I said. Yeah, with that, I'm going to end tonight. I'm going to see us out with some sexy toast, and then I'm just going to end. All right? Thank you. Whoop. That's the wrong sexy toast. I have a soundless one. I was like, wait a minute. He's not that sexy. That toast is so sexy, man. Loving it. I love that toast. So buttery, so good. Go to Yellow Flash's channel. The link is in the description. Go to Yellow Flash's channel. Again, if you get easily offended, don't go over there, please. But if you want to have fun, we'll talk about the case. We'll goof off some. Yes, Go have fun. Later.